sodas have some sort of collective brand across different brand representations. They all mean, as one brand would put it, quenching everyone's thirst. We are mentally programmed to see the same storylines in advertisements over and over again. While it's okay, and we got used to them, nothing beats a surprising brand that goes against the grain. RC Cola stepped up in their game and gave us an ad that was least expected. Apart from that, people online raved about it. What is the RC Cola about? What is its effect among consumers? And did it really do the trick?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy Friday!
Hello.
And again, you're here with us through Hobby Squad. And today we are joined by Lance over here, Mark, Nico over there. I still can't figure out the directions. And of course, my name is Mikey. And we are going to be talking about something very, very interesting today. Right? So, I think, are we gonna or no? But in any case, we are going to be talking about the ad, which is sort of like a hot topic these days. And as you all know, it is about the RC Cola ad. Yeah. So the title for tonight's session is Mama Mo RC, the RC Cola ad effect. So we're gonna go into sort of like what we think about it, how it impacted us, what our thoughts are about it. And we have somebody with us tonight to be able to talk about that. So, can you tell us who it is, Nico?
Sure, okay. Sige, before we actually bring her out, she's a graduate of De La Salle University with a Bachelor of Arts degree, major in Philippine Studies, major in Filipino and Media Studies, Communication and Media Studies, right? She holds a master's degree in Marketing Communications from the same university. She also currently working on her PhD in Communications at the University of the Philippines. Ayan. So, currently she's working as a lecturer at De La Salle and a part-time faculty member at the One School. She's a licensed teacher. She has had some marketing work in the past at jolt.ph and volunteaching.ph. She used to be a contributing writer at wheninmanila.com. Fun fact lang, we used to be schoolmates in high school. Kami mga pa-achiever before nung high school pa kami. So,
Yes.
so medyo go-to friend and go-to person ko talaga to si Moy, no? So without further ado, let's all give it up for Moy Espinosa.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Moy!
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Hello. Good
Yes.
evening to everyone. Hello.
Yes, Moy. We see some of your students in the chat because I
Kamusta?
hear,
Kamusta lahat?
I read someone saying, Prof ko po yan. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Ayun. So, for those of you who are new to this channel,
Wow.
basically, for those of you new to this
Kamusta
channel,
sa lahat?
basically,
Shout out sa mga estudyante ko dyan. Thank you for supporting.
yes,
Yes,
thank you
yes,
very
yes,
much
yes.
for being here. And if
Wow.
this is your
Nako.
first may lagyata. So if this is your first time joining us, of course we are Brew Hobby Squad, and we talk about basically everything and anything under the sun. But most of all, we talk about our interest basically started with watching series. So we talk about those, and we also talk about the issues and concerns that surround the particular genre and that we're watching. And of course, this is something that involves media as well. So we branched out to that. And if this is your first time joining us, thank you for being here. We hope that you join in on the conversation. So you can go ahead and type it in the chat. We'll try to pull them up on the screen, just like what you see now. And feel free to share whatever your thoughts and opinions are, because we are here to do that, right? Every opinion, every perspective is welcome, because we believe that we all come from different backgrounds. We all have a different way of seeing things. So my perspective may differ from other people in this panel. It may differ from yours, and that's absolutely fine. The most important thing is we come to sort of like a common understanding, and we share our thoughts on things. if you're here with us again, thank you very much for being here again, and we hope that we have a fun and engaging conversation tonight. So, thank you very much, Moy, for accepting our invitation. Salamat.
Kumusta ka naman, Moy?
Ayan, may lag yata.
Thank
Ika na.
you also. This is going to be
May
exciting.
love ya.
Yes.
Kailangan medyo kinakabahan. Ito, I have my RC Cola. May lag ba? Narinig niyo ba ako? Ayan,
Yes.
narinig niyo.
Yes.
Buti pa si Moy, may RC Cola.
Ang hirap niya hanapin.
Ayan.
Exactly.
True.
Medyo mahirap siya hanapin.
Actually, napakahirap na niyang hanapin. Oo.
So,
Oo,
buti
na
nagkaroon tayo.
pinagrab ko pa siya kanina. Ayan.
Oh, wow. Special delivery service tayo dyan. Love that.
Oo. I think Moy shared that she
Yeah.
wasn't able to like find yung bottles ng RC Cola sa convenience stores eh. Even sa isang supermarket, I guess, no? Moy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Okay.
Pag-lag
Yes.
talaga.
I wasn't able to. I went to actually two supermarkets and 3 convenience stores, and nahihirapan ako siyang hanapin ngayon.
Okay.
Oo, so I had to get a special delivery just to get it.
Mm.
Yeah, kasi no, it's easier to
Yeah.
look for RC Cola in the provinces, especially sa barrio, sa mga tindahan. I think it's more accessible there, or they're more
Okay.
known there
Hello.
compared to Metro Manila.
Right.
Yeah.
But kayo,
Sari
kayo ba, guys, have you-
stores. Yeah.
kayo ba,
Mhm.
have you like tasted or tried RC Cola before?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Actually, parang to my recollection, and I don't drink it a lot, but to my recollection, parang it seems a bit sweeter than
Yes.
Coke or Pepsi. And
Yeah.
tama nga, parang it was more available in the provinces. Like in my hometown, you actually see it more than you see it here in the grocery stores.
Yes.
So I guess this is what they're trying to do, no? By putting out this ad, is to make it more, I guess, so parang top of
Out there.
mind or memory recall, di ba?
Yeah.
And hopefully put it in the stores. So we'll see if that works in the coming months.
Tignan natin.
Yes.
Right. So I think what we're gonna do now is we were able to seek permission from the marketing team of RC Cola. No, we had this conversation early this morning, and what we're gonna do is just like what we used to do before for Game Boys. Mag-react tayo. Although napanood na natin siya before. Okay? So, we're gonna be reacting with Moy. I think this was a suggestion by the group, no? Kanina sa group chat natin. We decided to have it as like a video that we'll be reacting. So, I'll be flashing the full video now. And then let's take a look at the video again. And for those of you who haven't seen the ad, I think this is a good opportunity for you to witness and see this again. Okay? Sige, ipa-flash ko muna. Very cool.
Yun na.
Ayun na. May mga nagko-comment na talaga sa chat.
Yeah.
Parang nanonood ng movie. No?
Diba?
Weird lang.
Okay, so let's play this ad. Okay.
Ha?
Oo.
Ampun po ba ako?
Ha? Sino naman nagsabi sa'yo niyan?
Kasi ma, lagi na akong inaasar sa school eh. Ampun daw ako ma eh.
Anak, di ba sinabi ko sa'yo huwag ka magpapa-apekto sa sinasabi ng iba?
Pero ma, sabihin mo sa akin ma, ampun po ba ako? Ha? Ma!
Naiyak na ako. Char.
Ampun ba ako?
Kala ko nga Jollibee lalabas eh.
Paliwanag mo ma.
I did not expect what coming
May
in.
paliwanag mo, bakit may 4 na baso ko sa
Sorry,
likod?
natawa ako.
Tapos naging X-Men.
Para siyang parang Ano yung parang sa masad?
Tinago ito sa'yo, ano?
Ganda sa masad.
Palagay ko
Mendoza.
nagmalaman mo.
Pa,
Oo.
ang
Parang
drama,
ganda
oh.
sa masad.
It's the rising crescendo of the music for me.
Yes!
And- Kala ko nga una may baso rin siya sa ulaig eh.
Akala ko base yung ulo niya. Yung pala
The
art.
kid actually reminds me of Aura Vigel.
Actually, oo.
Right.
Tama.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Dapat pala sinabayan ko ng bubus yung ano.
Yan, there you go. So, all right. So, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it a bit fun. Although we have comments already in the chat, we'll do it. Ano ba to? The training way. So I think we're all familiar with Mentimeter. Hindi na sabi ni Mike kanina, hindi natin binitawan ang pagiging trainer, di ba?
True.
So, I'm gonna be flashing Mentimeter now. Sandali ha. And we'll be asking everybody in the chat to key in their answers. Okay, after watching that.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully it works.
So, oo eh.
This is the first
Let
time
me
we're doing
just-
this on a live, so
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
You guys are familiar with Mentimeter? Yes.
sandali, let me do it again.
So basically, you
Medyo-
just have to log into www.menti.com. It's M Mama Echo Nancy Tango India.com, and a code's gonna be flashed. So the code number is, I couldn't read it, it's too small.
the code number is
2873
2873 So it's 2873158. Ayan.
73158.
Alright, let me just sandali ha. Let me just,
8, 7.
For
Yeah,
sure.
so basically you just have to log in, and when you get inside, you just have to type in the code number, which is 2873158, and put in your thoughts on RC Cola. What was your initial thoughts when you watched the
Okay.
ad?
I thought it was going to be like a multiple choice, but they get to type in whatever they want.
yes.
I think there's a character limit, I think.
Uh,
So
Yeah, 25, yeah.
make sure
Yeah,
that
you have
it's not
25
short.
characters, I think, to type in.
Yeah, so it's a word.
And you're given
or
two
phrase.
options.
Mhm. Oh, there are two options. Let me check. Let me go ahead and try that too.
Yeah, I'm trying it now.
ayan. May mga responses na.
Yes. So, welcome back to school, guys. Thank you very much for participating. But
So
I
you already
swear-
got words like weird,
Wow.
unique, viral, surreal, weird but good.
Weird but good. Okay. Mutant. Okay.
Japanese.
You have Japanese,
Yeah, Japanese.
RC. Oh, Japanese commercials. Ooh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does remind us of a Japanese commercial or some of the Japanese commercials that they do.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It has mind-boggling, but surreal is one of the biggest words that strikes out if you'd see the Mentimeter.
two options. Two ano pala?
Yep.
Two entries pala.
2 entries. It could be, as long as it fits the 25 character
Yeah. Because when you
entry.
guys said option, I was thinking they would choose.
No.
So two entries. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
So we get surreal and weird. Those are the first two big words that you see.
Surreal,
Yeah.
weird. I think yung bigger word, I think yun yung mas maraming nag-key in ng response na yun.
Yeah, that's what it means. Like if the big bold ones that you see, like the weird, surreal, and Japanese, are the big standouts. Ibig sabihin, those are the shared words typed in by the people.
Right.
Trypophobia inducing.
Uy,
Is
nakita
that
ko yun.
inducing?
Ay, wow, yeah.
Trypophobia, inducing ba? Yeah.
Yes,
Ano pa?
inducing. Inducing. Yeah, especially
saw
with the
feet.
cups. I get it why.
Yeah.
Ayan. Meron naglagay ng
Imagine ako
fear.
pag tinanggal yung cup sa likod. Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh my
gosh.
god. I'm getting goosebumps. Oh my god.
Let's go.
Yeah. Tapos shock.
Right. Baka yun yung purpose ng backpack niya, no? To cover yung glasses sa likod.
Yes, it was. Kaya I thought X-Men, alam mo, one of the X-Men characters na si Spike, na may lalabas na Spike sa likod. But his was glass.
Ayan. We see humor, we see shock, we see mutant, no?
Yeah.
But I think
Intriguing.
yun.
Intriguing. Yeah, but the biggest word is
bigger
surreal.
and bigger. Yeah.
I think surreal is the one.
Surreal. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we can do is we can go back to the responses here. Taray, may pag ganun tayo. And then we'll try to discuss and then share our insights on the ad that we've just seen. No, Moy was kicked out for some reason. I think we're having some
Okay.
for her to come back. Yeah. Okay. So but now, what are our overall insights? Anong overall feels natin of this this ad when we first saw it?
For me, I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird because, well, initial reaction is I did not expect it to go that route at all. I thought it would all be dramatic, and there would be some sort of revelation in terms of maybe the progeny of the child or whatnot. But then it was just very strange for me. And yes, I agree that it sort of like brought me to that mindset now. These are the types of commercials that you see the Japanese, the Thai do, right? Meaning they go a completely opposite direction from what you initially thought it would, right? So that was the thing that got me the most. And that's probably the reason why I didn't think of any other aspect of that commercial except for the weirdness of it, because that was the most impactful for me. Right. And in terms of, let's say, recall, if it wanted to achieve that, if it wanted to sort of like create sort of like recall, then it really achieved its purpose, because now you can forget about it, right? So as a marketing ploy, as a marketing strategy, I think if it wanted to create sort of like a mark in people's minds, it definitely did that. So I think overall it was effective in that sense.
Yeah.
But the main thing for me was just it was weird. That's it.
I think Mikey, I think you did say sa group chat natin na parang yung dark humor. I think was it you who said that? I think it was you.
I think kinda, yeah. But
yeah,
more than the dark humor, it was really just weird.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. How about you guys, Lance and Maki?
Well, for me, at first, actually, it was Nico who shared it to the group chat. Na doon ko siya unang nakita when Nico shared it to the group chat. So parang, and us being in the group chat knows, ang daming mga links lagi eh. So parang, ano to? Parang, ano na naman tong sinend nila? Ang dami nang sinesend itong mga to. So pag-open ko ng link, it was an ad. So parang, syempre pinanood ko. And then, at first, I wasn't really expecting, same with Mikey earlier. I wasn't really expecting it to go that way. You know? Parang I was expecting to be heavily influenced by the famous commercials of a fast food chain and also of a local, what do you call this, telco, na heavily induced by drama. So I was expecting it to go that way, and then it didn't. First, I thought it was weird. I thought it was surreal. I thought it was, what's really happening? Pero parang, parang initially, I didn't really see any problem with it at first. Maybe we can talk about it later, no? Pero having multiple times of watching it, I kind of see some of the discourses online that we've read on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. There are a lot of discourses about this certain advertisement. So when I was reading through the comments, nakikita ko na, oo nga, okay, this has a point. Okay, this also has a point. Some comments, I personally, I think are so far-fetched na parang, okay, parang are we having a blue curtain moment again? Pero I mean, I totally respect everyone's opinion naman. No? Pero for me, personally, at first, it wasn't, parang siguro ano lang, naunahan ako ng pagka-weird niya. So, hindi ko
Okay.
nakita yung underlying factors or effects of the advertisement. Pero
Right.
having like second, third time, or the fourth time watching it now, I don't know how many times I've watched it already. I can see na para okay, there are certain issues na hopefully gets addressed. Pero
Mhm, mhm.
in terms of marketing, if marketing is marketing, come on, bad PR is still PR. And parang if you're on the losing end of the PR, no, if you call it na parang bad PR,
Yeah.
you can still turn it around and generate revenue from bad PR. So if that's the route that they want to take, bold move, I must say. It's such a bold move if they will go that route, like um sparking conversations both on the on both far ends of the consciousness of the public. No?
Yeah.
Pero if the purpose is to spark conversation, yes, I think they did it well. That's why we're having this forum SPEAKTrum right now. No, if the goal is to generate sales, ultimately, well, we do not know yet.
Mhm.
But by the fact na hopefully it gets more available sa, especially here in Metro Manila, kasi medyo mahirap siya hanapin dito, no? Pero I think we can see, I don't know, maybe the production or the ad agency can release some like digits or numbers data on how this
Mhm.
specific advertisement helped in their revenue. Pero again and again, revenue or not, we still have the responsibility as media to be responsible in the content that we put out to the public.
Wait, pero ano, aminin nyo, like, sorry, I'm gonna mention some brands, like, if we've seen, like, ads ng Coca-Cola, for example, 7-Up, Sprite, or other sodas, di ba parang, whenever we watch these ads, we just watch them in passing, like, I don't know, parang dumadaan lang sila. But it doesn't get, or they don't really get our attention at the end of the day, right? Until RC Cola. Di ba parang, huy, something different, di ba? And I think both of you, Mikey and then Mackie, said na nakuha yung attention nyo. Parang you wondered, you questioned, what was that about, di ba? So I think probably yun yung goal talaga ng RC Cola, no? Yeah. How about you, Lance?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, what's their goal to create this?
Yeah.
Maybe that their goal is to target the Metro Manila side because it's already established in the provinces. So create something weird to call attention. And at first, I really thought that's going to the route of a famous newspaper ad. If you're familiar with that, it had wings. So I was thinking it's gonna go that same flow.
Right.
But
Right.
it went another direction, and I do see what Maki was saying about, because they're using stereotypes, especially on some of the issues that they placed in there, some of the statements established. So they're using those stereotypes to play with that. Hence, they got a bit of criticism, maybe because of that.
Right. And this
And
is
if
good.
that, yeah,
Go
ahead.
Lance, sorry.
You
Go ahead.
muna. Yeah, and I feel like, sorry, Buko Wi-Fi is real.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm really curious now, how will this play afterwards? And what was the real goal behind it? And what's going to be their market value, or what's going to be their pull once it gets released? Because so far, as of now, there's no RC Cola in the Metro Manila area, or it's hard to find yet. So I'm wondering if they were prepared of this outcome once the ad came out.
Wait, this is so interesting, no? Kasi Lance made mention of representation, and siguro we were able to have like some takeaways from our previous SPEAKTrum discussion on representation, diba? Queer representation, like in principle, like we have to be responsible in depicting different characters and plots and narratives, because I mean these are impactful, right? Kahit ad lang yan, no? That's why we sort of decided as BBS to do our ad reviews na rin. Hindi na tayo BBL, hindi na tayo PL, hindi na rin tayo movies or films or series. We will also venture into what do you call this, reviewing ads. Sabi nga ni Maki, no, parang antayin natin ng ibang brands or ibang companies na maglabas ng Christmas ads nila kasi doon tayo magtutuloy-tuloy. So walang katapusang live to.
Hindi naman.
Walang season 2, wala.
Maraming episodes like Gardo lang naman.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if you guys saw what was that? There was a comment in the
Leah
in the
or Mom
chat.
Yao?
Who is it, Mikey?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, it was a. I don't remember who it was, but it was a general comment. Like, this if they were agreeing basically that if this were supposed to be a marketing strategy, it was very effective. And I think it was that as well. And somebody asked as well, or mentioned that they don't see the sort of like the connection between the ampon and
Yes.
right. So somebody
Lian.
mentioned that. I think it was Lian. Okay. So I think that this is a very clear indication of the basta philosophy that Articola was going for, right? I mean, it didn't necessarily have to be connected in any way. I think what they did was to just basically string together certain things and then come up with a bahala na kind of kind of commercial. So basically, I think what creatives was tasked with was to give us something that will create a buzz. And then creatives was like, oh, okay, let's do this, this. And then bam, here you go. Right? So also there was a mention of if a marketing strategy was a trypophobia, then it worked. But I'm not sure if they were going for trypophobia. Maybe it was just a side effect that happened because of their decision to use cops, but maybe it was not their intent to sort of like draw attention to trypophobia, And it's annoying, but it's a missed opportunity that we don't have anyone from the team right now because I really want to get into their heads and sort of like get an idea of how they came up with the creative process, how they came up with the idea for this entire ad. But then, to my mind, it was basically just let's do something crazy, let's do something out of the ordinary, and then this is what happened. So I think I don't speak for the team. I don't know anybody there, but I think that they just thought that this would be something that will garner attention, and they probably didn't think that it would cause these kinds of conversations, that there would be people who would take it negatively and all of that. So, well, that's why we're here anyways, because it did create a buzz and we sort of want to, talk through this entire thing.
So, siguro, go Lance.
Yeah, and because if you look at it another way, if you remember what Thais was saying in our other speak rooms, that introduce a stereotype, then break it afterwards. Basically, that's what they did. They introduced an ad, a marketing ploy, use the heart, the stereotype, use the teleserye emotional ampon stereotype, ploy, and then be dragged into the story. Because we're known for our hugot ads, we're known for that heart-wrenching ads. Then suddenly, in midway, when she's about to reveal herself, then you get the twist of the stereotype.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like for me, if you look at another perspective, it could be like a satire to all the other ads that came out before them. Oh, hi, Thais.
Hi, Thais. Yeah.
Thais here.
Yeah. Wait, natuto talaga kami at Thais,
Oo, we're picking up.
Yes. Alright,
So
siguro, go Lance.
Yeah, I think that's a satire nga of what could what's the other ads are doing. So they're trying to break that mold. Oh, we can go crazy like the others. We'll bring it back to that old with that kind of twist, and let's see how the people would react.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay, so siguro for us to have a marketing perspective, that's why we invited Moy to give us that marketing principle, right? What's the story behind this? Because sabi nga ni Mikey kanina, parang we wanted to really get into the minds and heads of the creatives, right? From Gigil, no? We wanted to know how they were able to conceptualize these. But take a step back siguro tayo and let's take it from a marketing perspective, no? So I'll Moy this time, yun si Moy. Hey, Moy! Ilagay ko siya sa
Hi.
gitna.
Hey, Moy.
Nasa gitna
Hi,
talaga.
Mai.
Wow.
Yes,
Yes.
you get the honor.
So, yeah, it's just very interesting to actually listen to all your insights. Napaka-formal, kala mo nasa classroom pa rin, ano. Pero, ayan, thank you again for
We appreciate
shoutout ko ulit sa mga estudyante kong nanonood pa rin. Thank you. Ayan, parang feeling ko nasa classroom pa rin ako. But anyway, ayun, let's go back siguro yun nga. Let's take everything, take it in and let's take it a step back. Actually, lahat ng sinabi nyo, actually are almost in line with what I was initially thinking as well. I think it was it Mikey? One of you said na the shocking factor was there. Yes, I'd like to take that into consideration. The shocking factor, I'd also like to take into consideration the storyline. Tama, that's very important, lalo na for the creatives. That's very important. Because I guess there's in marketing there's always the action reaction, diba? So I guess if I'd like to highlight what all of you mentioned earlier na ano ba talagang objective? What is the goal of RC as a brand? And through this advertising, ay nako, Mia, hi! Okay, hi. Ayun, walang grade to, Mia. Ayan. Akala siguro may grade to. Mia, walang grade to. Ayan. Ayun, so, what is their objective? And sino ba talaga yung target market nila? I guess siguro dun tayo nagkakaproblema din when it comes to the distribution. Bakit hindi natin nararamdaman yung products nila here in Metro Manila? I read somewhere in the comments that I was reading through the comments in social media, and they said that Gen Z daw ang target market nila because yun nga, yung the bahala na culture of Gen Z na parang whatever happens, YOLO or whatever, that YOLO culture na yes, okay, whatever, ganon, whatever they call it, basta iba-ibang names. And I don't know kung, kasi one of you also mentioned yung dark humor. I don't know if it's a very Gen Z thing, but it is very cultural. I must say it's a very cultural thing, which I don't know if the Philippines and the Filipino in general, regardless of age, is prepared for that dark humor. Kasi nga tulad nga ng sinabi nyo kanina, very effective ang emotional advertising sa atin in terms of yung teleserye storyline. Diba? If you've noticed in some, what do you call this? Hindi lang sa mga food brands, pati na rin sa mga laundry detergent ads. If you've noticed. If you can recall some laundry detergent ads, talagang kailangan may
Yes.
nanay, may lola, may anak, may kanta, or hindi kaya may the best friend storyline. Uy, ang pangit ng buhok ko, anong gagawin ko sa buhok ko? And then, lalabas yung product. Diba? So, the product is always the hero to it. So, I guess, kaya, dun babalik yung shocking factor ng RC Cola. So, ang dami ko na sinabi. Okay. Ayun. React. Yun. Did I miss anything? Ayun. So I guess dun siya effective. Because nga, hindi prepared, I guess. And it was the shocking factor, if it was the objective of RC Cola, naging effective siya in that manner. Kasi, okay, tama yung, I think one of you mentioned the sustainability after the shocking factor. Kasi people will want to buy, right? And that would be the question next to the marketing team na how do we then sustain it? So, if we are going to talk about it in that manner, hindi natin masasabi if it's effective in that manner kasi we still don't know the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, right.
I guess people are buying it in the provinces, which again we have no idea yet. I think to give an example also to everyone, the well I was listening to everyone. I think the closest example that I can relate this to is a certain ice cream brand tried to do a similar shocking factor to this. Years
Mhm.
ago, um, they introduced this certain ice cream bar. I'm not sure if I'm allowed, but sige, sasabihin ko na, we're not, okay. Magnum, okay, Magnum tried doing a
Okay.
similar
Ah,
thing. Okay, Magnum tried
yes.
to do a similar marketing ploy where, di ba, they even had a Magnum party. And then
Mm-hmm,
people
mm-hmm.
were
Correct.
curious, and then they invited a lot of influencers, and they were posting in social media. They were
Mm.
targeting the ice cream to younger millennials, and actually millennials in general. Tapos parang everyone was like, oh, saan ba mabibili? Saan ba mabibili? And
Mm.
then when people started looking for it, kasi there was a shocking factor na parang, ha, may ganyan palang ice cream dito sa Pilipinas. And then people started looking for it, tapos hindi nila mahanap. And then when
Mm.
people started posting na, uy guys, meron pala sa convenience stores, meron pala sa so-and-so distribution channels, and then, okay, naging effective siya. And then what
Mm.
they did to sustain it after was to just give more variants of the flavors. So
Okay.
so I think for to if that is the route of what RC wants to go to, then we will see in the next coming weeks, I
Yep.
guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm curious on how they'll handle it social media wise. Because right now it's a virtual world, especially during the pandemic.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
before you could go to convenience stores. Before you could just walk into a grocery store and buy a certain stuff. Right now you're hindered because of some of the laws. So I'm wondering what's going to be the gameplay for the virtual world.
Yeah. Right.
Well, tama. I guess. Oh, was somebody okay? Siguro, I want to add to that. I was like what I said earlier. Nahirapan ako hanapin siya. So
Mm,
the only two platforms, I'm allowed naman to say platforms,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So I
Oh.
think the platforms I only saw the RC Cola were Grab and Lazada.
Mm.
So the other physical stores I wasn't able to see it. So to answer, maybe to bank on what Lan said was yun nga, I saw it online. So I guess they're considering the pandemic. I guess if that's what they're considering, baka yun nga, that's why they're all online for Metro
Yeah.
Manila. Yeah.
Yeah. So siguro Moy, out of curiosity lang siguro,
Yes.
parang you made mention of the shocking factor and our being emotional and bumibenta talaga yung emotional ads for Filipinos, right? So ako siguro like I don't know if you guys will have the same question. Na parang in the Filipino Asian market pa, parang what do you think would make an effective ad? Is it just about emotions or is there something bigger? May mga tema ba or may mga themes ba in terms of plot? Or is it just the emotion? Kasi if you can remember, yung ako talaga, una ko talaga naalala na emotional na ad na napaiyak talaga. I mean, naluha ako ng konti. Yung The Vow ng Jollibee. O nag-mention na naman ako ng brand. Okay?
Mm.
'Di ba? So sobrang naiyak
Jollibee, baka
talaga ako pero
naman.
baka
Jollibee.
naman, no?
And
So, ayun nga, very emotional siya, pero iba ang kwento nun. Siguro, experience made me feel that way. And probably to some, kasi naging viral siya eh. Even reactors from the States and other countries had lives or videos reacting to that particular ad. So, naging viral siyang ganun. 'Di ba? So, like, in your insight, based on what you've seen, what you've experienced, Moy, and what you've probably read through, like in the Filipino or Asian market, what makes an effective social media ad?
uh, well, an effective one. What I always mention to people is that dapat it what the social media ad or the ad the strategies that a brand should do will always have to be based on what the brand would want to happen, what their objective is, and of course, they would always have to consider their target market. And in this case, the Filipinos and the Filipino culture. Um, I guess I would like to take into consideration, as we see in the RC Cola, it's uh, a very family centric ad. So, mapapansin natin na kahit medyo weird siya, nandun pa rin yung setting
Yeah.
ng family. And that's a very
Right.
Filipino thing, right?
Mm.
Second, um, there there was a theme na baka na-offend yung ilang tao, but I guess I wanted to go deeper to it. Siguro gumana lang, nag-overthink lang ako. And ano ba yung konsepto ng yung diba yung, okay, yung bata na nalungkot siya dahil tinitease daw siya sa school. Regardless of the reason for being teased, the emotion of being teased in school is a recurring emotion, as a recurring situation for students in general. So I guess,
Right.
tulad ng sabi ni Nico kanina, he was, ang very relatable emotion niya sa Davao was, yun nga, may emotion na nakarelate siya doon. So I guess, if that's if that sad emotion of being teased in school is what they're going for, then probably effective nga rin siya sa Asian market. I don't know. What do you guys think?
There's a comment from Thais. We can see that, guys.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so naka-verify sa ilalim, di ba? let me read it. My own take is that more than its effect on their client, the biggest beneficiary is the agency. Gigil has solidified themselves as a supplier of out-of-the-box ideas, which is exactly what we saw. Matagal na sila na ganyan ang output, pero ngayon lang talaga naging mas matindi ang reach nila as an agency. It bodes well for them because if a brand seeks impact, even virality, Giggle can seem to assure it and they will win more clients.
Yeah.
Ayun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with...
diba-
Oh, sige, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, diba Gigil also made the one that came out before with the Levi's commercial with the
Yes.
one with the jacket and the brails on the jacket. So
I think
you could see
so.
a diversity of Gigil when it comes to that. They can do the weird, they can do the heart wrenching and pulling emotions kind of ploy.
Right.
So
That's why for me, I don't think that they intended to be to cause a stir or whatnot because they were very sensitive in that Levi's commercial, right? So it was a dad who personalized his son's jacket with braille so that it would, the son would be able to read it because the son was blind, so or visually challenged. So I think it was just really that, parang basta. So eto, basta gusto niyo o ayan. So bala kayo dyan. Parang I think that was just what happened.
yeah, it's becoming a trend, the dark humor. So I think that's what they're playing for. Like, let's go Stranger Things, kumbaga, quoting like from a series. Let's go that kind of weird. So why not use that kind of trend with an ad commercial? So I think that's the mentality there with that. And siguro people just got the stigma. Kumbaga, I think Ma'am Yao said it a while ago. Na there's a stigma. There is a media representation stigma when you said ampon, which is attached to that maybe. And I think they're attacking it for that same reason. When you say ampon, you're putting agad the instant stigma. So an ampon is usually bullied, an ampon is usually from a different color, a different curly hair, and all the other stereotypes placed on it. And I think that people are just being attacked on that. But once you see the whole concept to the very end, which I got siguro, na the kid is as weird as the mother herself. The mother is a Coke bottle, and the kid has glasses in the back. So they're kind of a family pa din in their weirdness.
So that sort of like makes me question if, for example, the child looked different. What if the child, for example, had straight hair or had fair skin? Would it garner the same amount of flack or not?
That's a good
Because
question,
I
though.
think one of the things that were noticed was he was obviously made to appear different from the family because he had a different shade of skin or a different hair texture or whatnot. And also one of the things that was mentioned in the chat, and which I also agree with, is that well, one there is still a stigma to be ampon for some reason because I think culturally we got this from, and this is again me speculating. I mean, I don't know for sure. Feel free to correct me. But I believe that it came with the way that we were colonized, right? Because
Yeah.
when the Spaniards came, there was this whole issue about being pure blood. So it was very important for families to not be tainted by the blood of, let's say, other families or other what do you call it? Other races, diba? So parang that trickled down into, let's say, families not adopting because that means that there is the entry of different blood. Or another aspect to that would be that if they needed to, what do you call that? If they needed to adopt, that means, well, it's usually the dad or the male that is considered as not being able to produce, which is an attack on their virility as males. And of course, that hits their ego and their machismo, and therefore it is shameful to admit that you have a son out of wedlock or an adopted son. You know, so all these things come into play, and even now, parang we still have that kind of people still have that kind of thinking. Na parang pag-ampon, parang it's something to be ashamed of. But I disagree with that because obviously, number one, the child has no say in it. You know what? Number one. And secondly, no matter if the child was adopted or not, they can still be the most beautiful person. I mean, they're still a person. I mean, they are deserving of the same love, the same respect, the same treatment. They have the same dignities and what do you call that? Rights as everyone else. Diba? So why should there still be a stigma? So I think that more than just shocking us with what happened, I think the conversation should also be why do we still have that stigma? And what can we do to actually remove that stigma? Kasi guys, 2020 na. Tapos parang, di ba, parang
Yeah,
minamata pa rin natin yung mga adopted children.
yeah. Yeah, let's get back to our roots. Because our roots are communal. We live in a communal society before, wherein we live in big clans or big families, wherein every kid is like a brother or sister in a communal society. So if we could go back to that, that would be great. At least it would erase a stigma for a while. Pero there was a good question also by Anli Marl regarding that, because I think that is what I'm looking for at the end, Sana, of the commercial. I was looking for a witty comment or a witty quotation saying, to answer that question, is he really adopted or was he really part of the family? Kasi both of them, parang kaya sabi ko, they're like one family kasi they're both made of glass. They have a glass part in them. The mom has the bottle, the kid has the glasses, the cups.
Actually,
Pero
they
they
sort of
didn't answer
complement each
that.
other nga eh.
Uh-uh.
Alam mo yan? They complement each other because the receptacle and the thing, the cola.
But it was never answered nga lang. We were
Not
all
really.
left hanging.
Finally. Yeah.
So siguro I guess we go back to that point nga na probably the concept of family nga na parang 'di ba, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I guess yun nga 'di ba that may kasabihan tayo na yung nanay ang ilaw ng tahanan, something like that. So I guess in that scenario, like the mom will comfort the kid in that scenario, in the RC Cola scenario na okay anak wag kang malungkot kasi okay ito I'll comfort you, I'll give you RC Cola. Okay, so parang yun nga, wag kang malungkot kasi I'm part of you and you're part of me. So I guess if we go that route na communal, everyone's family, di ba? And at the end, yung scene, lahat sila umiinom ng RC Cola from each other. Medyo weird nga lang yung yung image na yung umiinom sila ng straw from each other. But like, I think that's the point of it na you help each other, I guess. But not like mag-iinom kayo ng straw from each other. But like, gets yun. So, and I guess, yun din. Probably another way for us to talk about the term adoption or adopted, kasi RC Cola is it's not a local brand. It's from the States. I read
It's from
about
the
the history of
States.
RC Cola. It's from the States. And based on what I read, it has been sold to different companies until finally the one currently handling them. Yun. So they're the ones owning it already. But prior to that, I think they were owned by two other big companies. So I think yun nga, going back to what the objective is, will they then be a brand that people will go to? Kasi nga, di ba, for a while, parang hindi natin naramdaman si RC. Di ba?
Yeah.
It has always been other soda brands. So I guess, if we go deeper to what their objective is, so yun, ano ba, yung concept of adoption being part of the Filipinos again, as part ng hapagkainan. Kasi again, the culture of eating together, drinking together, it's there. So, are we open to adopting them again as part of our kainan celebrations and non whatsoever? So, pwede nating puntahan siya to that level na, okay, let's welcome RC back to our, lalo na malapit na Pasko, di ba? May mga,
Right.
order tayo ng
Yes.
RC Cola.
Mas mura ba yung
Pwedeng ganon.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This one, sabi dito, ang SRP daw is 10. It says 10 pesos SRP, but I was able to buy it for 15.
15 pesos to eh.
Yeah.
Sa
15
Grab.
pesos
Yeah.
siya eh. Sa Grab, it's an 8 ounce for SRP 10, yeah. Ang tawag nila cute. I don't know.
Very cute.
Yeah. So,
Diba?
yes, ito po siya.
Baka naman RC, no? Baka naman RC.
Baka naman RC. Shout out sa RC, baka naman.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to say thank you pala sa marketing team ng RC Cola for saying yes to this. Thank you so much for responding to the email. So, they're very really accommodating. Yes, yun lang. Yon. So ako parang hearing you guys like discuss these things, and of course with Moy's perspective on marketing. Siguro yung more like a question na lang. I think I like what Mikey pointed out a while ago, and then siguro I'd like to piggyback on what Thai said a while ago. Kasi parang we have different parties involved here. We have the client, we have the provider or the advertising agency, and you have the audience or the people. Diba? So considering that, although yes, may control talaga si ad agency in terms of what they're gonna produce and create, creative process or whatnot, and then consult na lang si client, diba? So, more like marketing technicalities na lang yun eh. Parang, kumbaga, parang agreement between client and then the ad agency. Ito ang question ko. Siguro jumping off from what Mikey said, in terms of yung sensibilities siguro, we're talking about stigma, yung isa ampon na naman, no? Ang question ko kasi, parang, kasi siguro sa creative process na naman to ng ad agency, ang question ko more like, are we banking on or are we leveraging the consciousness or kamalayan ng audience for us to create ideas or for us to come up ideas? What am I trying to say? Like sabi ni Mikey kanina, stigma in relation to adopted kids, right? And other stigmas, marami pang iba-ibang stigmas, diba? We discussed about representation of queer individuals, we talk about women, ang dami nating pwedeng pag-usapan about stigma, multiple or double stigma, diba? Ang question ko is, for the ad, sa marketing perspective ba, Moy, parang does it factor in yung kamalayan ng tao? Kasi feeling ko, kaya na bring up yung adoption na plot or narrative, it's because it's still in the deep recesses of the Filipino psyche. It's still in the deep, kumbaga, consciousness of the Filipino psyche. So, part ba yun ng marketing that you leverage on these emotions and consciousness para makuha yung attention ng tao?
Yes, of course. Kasama yan sa psychographic part of it. And before I continue with my comment,
Yes.
I'd like to shout out sa aking teacher. Hi, Doc Pailan. Nandito ka pala.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Hi,
Hi,
Doc.
ma'am.
Nandito ka. Ay, kinilig. Hi, Doc. Nandito po kayo. Kinilig. Okay. Sorry, idol ko yun. Hi po, ma'am. Hi. Ayan. Kasi,
Hello.
nandito po siya. So, ever supportive talaga. And napakaganda bigla. Ma'am, pumasa po ako sa inyo. Kahapon. Sabay ganun, pumasa po ako sa inyo. Hi po. Ayan. Um, well, tama yan. I'd like to agree na yung kamalayan nga ng tao, it's very important. Yung what, diba, I think in college we were taught dati yung psyche, the ego, at sa ating, ano bang subject yun? Was it, basta yun, one of those subjects. And you have to think of, when you apply to marketing, you have to, yun nga, action, reaction. What do you want your target market to do after they see your ad? Kasi even before the whole team makes the ad, they already considered what you're going to do during the time that you're watching it, and even after you watch the ad.
Right.
So one of the things that I was talking with another friend was, um, if Gen Z ngayon gusto nilang target market, syempre natural magkakaroon ng mga memes. Yan. And true enough, nagkaroon ng mga memes
Yes.
about it.
Yep.
Yes.
True.
So, ang sinasabi nga nila, yung paggawa nga ng memes na yun ay parang free advertising na yun kasi it's already sustaining the interest of the people na parang bakit, ano tong meme na to? Bakit, diba? Bakit may meme na ganito? Actually, prior to me watching the ad, I saw memes about it na parang ano tong baso na to? The first meme that I saw was yun nga yung vento sa massage. So parang, bakit sa RC Cola? Tapos parang ko, di ko gets, ano yon. So syempre, I started, parang bakit may vento sa massage ng RC Cola? Like, meron ba silang, nag-sponsor ba sila ng mga baso, ng pang-ventosa? I don't get it.
Yung pang-cafeteria na baso pa naman yun.
Weird. Massage po dyan, mga Mount Albo. Masarap po ang Mount Albo Ventosa massage, by the way. Ayun. Pero hindi pa pwede magpa-massage parlor ngayon. Talaga nagpa-shout out din ng mga sponsors. So, ayan. So, yun. So, yun nga. Going back to Nico's question, yung psyche nga ng tao, we have to consider it because even prior to what brands would want to do, they actually considered what you want to happen. Diba? From start to finish dapat yan. At yes, yun. So, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yay!
Siguro one of the other things that I was, because I have a lot of thoughts about, can you hear me?
Naglag ba ako?
Yes, we
Hindi ko
can.
alam kung naglag ako eh. Naglag ba ako?
Di naman siguro.
Ayan, okay.
Hindi naman.
Pwede ba mag-shoutout ulit? Coach?
Sure.
Yes. Sino ba?
Yes.
Sino ba?
Si Sean Kim. Hi, Sean Kim.
Hi, Sean Kim.
Estudyante
Is Sean
mo,
Kim Korean?
Hindi, coach ko si Franco Rulyoda. Coach ko siya sa martial arts. Hindi, estudyante ko Sean Kim, hi! I don't think so, no. Sean Kim. Ano lang yan, mahilig lang. Yung mga bata. Ayan. Coach ko din yan. Sa martial
Hi,
arts.
Coach.
Yan.
Oh, hi, Coach.
Ayun, hello. Yeah,
So,
ours is very relative po. Hi, Coach.
Actually, since
Yan,
you
hi,
mentioned
Coach.
sustaining the momentum
Anyway,
and you saw some memes, ako naman, I saw, somebody shared an Instagram filter wherein naglalagay sila ng RC Cola sa mukha. Pinapalitan talaga yung mukha. Tapos RC Cola na siya. So, I think that's what happens nowadays. Parang people are unwittingly or wittingly sustain a gag or a joke or something by actually creating other sort of like, other platforms or other media based on that particular thing. Diba? So yun nga parang naging filter na siya sa Instagram story. And I'm sure people are going to be using that as well. And it's all going to be a lot of fun. Right? So parang I'm going back to the topic of Ampon for a little bit, but not necessarily. Are there topics which are taboo when it comes to marketing?
Yeah.
Kumbaga, is there
Good
any topic
question.
na you should stay away from, like drop him like a big sack of hot potatoes? Or can we basically talk about anything and everything?
Can she hear us?
Like,
Yeah, I
like
think
Church
there's a
Church
Medyo may
Payat.
konting lag lang. Sorry
Okay.
again. May konting lag.
Go
What
ahead,
was
Moy.
it? Sorry.
Are there taboo topics?
Taboo. Yes, yes. There, I heard it. Taboo. Well, aside dun sa isang buong list of what to say and not to say by the um, advertising people, because I know there are strict rules depending on which country you're in. Like classic example yan is for example you can't mention the name of your competitor. That's the very classic example that what we tell people. You can versus in other countries you can mention your competitor's name. Um, well, now, syempre, what we're trying to also look into is yun nga, yung you have to be very gender sensitive when it comes to ads.
Right.
Kasi nga, again, you have to
Right.
be mindful of your target market and the culture of the country that you're showing your ads. Um, I'd like to cite another soda. It's another soda company. If you've noticed in their ads, um, ang common theme ng viral ads nila or their YouTube ads is their truck. Okay, their truck. So
Yes,
and their
we
vendo
noticed.
machine. Their truck and their vendo machines.
Mm-mm.
But
Yes.
um, but if you look at in their YouTube channel, depende kung anong country sila, yung suot ng tao na nandun sila, yun yung pinapakita nila. Yung local, they
Right.
use the local people to showcase ano ba yung culture doon and yung issues na meron sila doon. Like, there was one na may war dun sa within their country. So, they did not focus on the war itself, but how they use the vendo machine, the interactive vendo machine to combine the cultures of the war struck area. Diba? So how will you and from then on from that ang takeaway ng mga tao is ang brand pala na ito hindi lang siya basta love they also promote happiness and happiness is not just limited to happiness sa romantic love but happiness in war-stricken countries. So I guess yun nga, when it comes to taboo, you have to be culturally sensitive to ano ba ang nangyayari dun sa kung saan mo pinapakita yung ads mo.
Mhm.
Yun. So I guess, yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yes, and because of this ad as well, I sort of like remember that even as children, for example, and even in myself, there were moments or times where I wondered if I was adopted, and it's not necessarily alam mo yun, parang I guess what I'm trying to say is parang at one point or another, a lot of us have questioned whether we were adopted when in fact we weren't, and that can come from, let's say, parang si kuya, lagi na lang siya yung pinapaboran, mga ganong bagay, di ba? Or parang si ate, parang siya na lang laging bida, parang, bakit laging ako yung may kasalanan? Bakit parang kasalanan? Mga ganong bagay. Di ba? So, alam mo yun, so parang, that's why when I saw the ad and he asked, am I on? I didn't necessarily think that he was, because I wasn't even looking at the scene. I didn't even notice it. You know what? Parang I was just thinking na baka may pinaguhugutan tong batang to na baka hindi siya
Ako rin.
napagbibigyan lagi or alam mo yun. So I was not thinking along those terms that he was actually adopted. So for me, it didn't register as offensive or sort of like something out of the box, that particular question, because parang there were instances where I've encountered it and then I thought of it myself. So I was like okay with it. But then now there is the issue that it may be it has caused a stir with certain demographics. So I'm not defending or anything. I'm just saying my point of view about things. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I get your point of view then. Kasi parang when I was watching that too, it had a it spiked me a bit, especially when I saw the curly hair, the dark brown skin. Parang, that's like a stereotype of who I am as in the culture. Because I'm party gorot, so that's how they paint us. And look at me, I'm not even that. So
See,
it
that's another
kind of,
thing.
yeah. So there are some instances na about that, and I'm kind of thinking if this was done purposely, knowing that RC knew their market is going to be reactive, knowing that these are woke people, especially in the Gen Z, they will create a discourse for them for a topic like adoption.
Right.
Maybe.
So parang it could be, di ba, like we're like I think in one of our SPEAKTrums, we were talking about the big D's, discourse, discussion, and debate. So maybe that was done on purpose. Because if they knew beforehand na it could go two ways. You can go meme way or you can go discourse way. So if they thought of that already right now while they were doing that, they are brilliant because they did attack both already.
Although, since you mentioned the color of the skin again and the hair, that also brings me to another point that I wanted to sort of like share. That there are instances wherein you are from the same family, you come from the same parents, but then there are people who don't look at all like their parents. You know,
Yes.
I mean, sort of like a recessive gene, or maybe
Yes.
sort of like a little change in the DNA, right? In terms of maybe hair color or skin tone, etc. And you know, it happens. And even among fraternal twins, you would have someone who is dark skinned and then someone who is light skinned. So you know,
Same.
for me, that's why it didn't register at all. Like for me, I was just going with the story, you know.
Right.
And and that's the thing. I mean, parang I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
it's our generation. Kasi
maybe it's
yeah,
I
yeah, we
don't
saw
know.
something different. For me, when I was watching that, parang sabi ko, uy, nag-iinarte lang si bata. Parang I thought he was reenacting a teleserye scene just to get back on from the
Yeah,
mother.
pwede rin, right? Possibly. Yeah.
So it felt like that. Parang kaya I thought it was a satire at first. Suddenly, the bottle and the glass came out.
Yeah.
Wait, pero
So it
ano,
really
like,
threw us for a loop.
like talking
Yes,
about sensibilities din because like I have to agree with you guys. Parang it didn't register to me as like a crucial issue really. Kasi para sa akin, like I have friends who have like afro kinky hair, right? So parang sa akin hindi issue kung anong saan ka galing or anong ethnicity mo. Friend kita. So when I saw the ad, I was like, okay, para lang ma-highlight yung difference. Kaya ganun yung itsura niya. So that's at least from my perspective, no. So wala naman ako masyadong naisip at all na problem. Although nung binabasa ko yung mga comments and dun sa thread ng ibang posts, no, there was even this issue. I don't know, this is far-fetched na. Parang may terrorist beheading issue daw doon. Parang it's very sensitive daw kasi tinanggal daw yung ulo ng nanay. And it's very ano daw, parang it's triggering terrorism or whatever kasi may beheading daw na eksena. And I'm like, hala, bakit may ganun ng discussion?
May ganun.
Yeah, so that's the reason that I'm bringing it up is ano ba yung hanggang saan ba, ayun na naman ako sa where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line between being sensitive or being overly sensitive? Yung
Like, yes, ma'am.
Well, actually, yun nga I guess, paano ko ba sasagutin yan? Kultura malaki ang impact ng kultura sa paano itatanaw at tatanawin. Iba kasi itatanaw sa tatanawin.
Yep.
So kung shucks, parang ito yung next term ko ituturo. Okay, but yung biglang ituturo ako. Yan. So yung tanaw sa tatanawin, kasi nga how I think that's a similar question to yung kultura ng the culture of age. Okay, we talked about this in class eh. Kasi 'di ba may kasabihan tayo sa mga nakikinig ko pa yung estudyante, pinag-usapan namin 'to na 'di ba may mga kasabihan tayo sa Filipino na lalo na pag pinapagalitan tayo ng mga magulang natin na alam mo papunta ka na, pabalik na ako. 'Di ba may mga ganun it's we can bring that back to the culture of age. And I guess why am I saying this? I would like to relate that to the culture of people na lalo na for the Filipinos na uh, yung timeliness, 'di ba? Yung timeliness of the theme, 'di ba? Kaya nga siguro lumalabas yung ganong sensitivity ng tao na beheading or whatever issue ng ampon, issue ng skin color because ngayon, yun yung mga recurring themes na nararanasan ng mga tao, the experience that we are exposed to. Okay? With that, those are the things. Kasi looking back, di ba? Looking back, pag tinignan natin yung mga ads nung siguro panahon ng magulang natin, the ads that were shown nung, di ba, nauso yung mga ads na pag ang babae, laging ang picture ng babae nagluluto sa bahay. 'Di ba? Yung mga panahon ng mga siguro nanay natin, yung mga pinapdas ang itsura, 'di ba? Yung nagluluto, ganon. So, because during that time, ang babae ay laging nasa bahay. So I guess yun nga, yung culture of age, the culture of age, yung timeliness of things na I don't know to answer the question of where do we draw the line. I cannot say directly where we draw the line, but to answer bakit may mga ganong reaction na beheading or what, because I guess the timeliness, the age na yun kasi yung mga experiences that we are exposed to as a generation, as millennials, as Generation Z, yung timeliness of the ads, I guess. Yun. So, yun lang.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And I think naman at the end of the day,
What do you
like
think?
somebody mentioned in the chat, people draw their own conclusions, or they draw their own assumptions, or they put their own perspective on it. So maybe in their place in Misan Plus, their environment where they are, there are things happening, and then because they saw something in the ad that kind of correlates to what is happening around them, then they've sort of put that interpretation into it. In our case, we are not experiencing anything of that sort, so therefore we didn't associate it with that. But for my part as well, I guess where do we draw the line? I think each person should have sort of like, well, siguro personally lang, I can't speak for everyone else, but personally, parang when I see an ad like this, and obviously this is an ad which is not a social commentary. It is not based on reality. So this is the kind of ad wherein you suspend disbelief. Sort of like when you're watching a fantasy movie, parang whatever you see on screen should be taken from that context. Like it's not real. It's not. It's fantastical. Parang it's weird. It's strange. So parang in my head, I was suspending disbelief because that's what it was showing me. So I didn't take it too seriously, I would say. And that's why I was weirded out, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
So that's for my part. Kasi parang, I think there are instances wherein we can still sort of like take our values and put it in that particular ad. However, I think that this was not an ad for that kind of mindset. And that's just me. So if you disagree, that's okay. But thank you for listening.
that makes sense. That makes sense, Mikey. I have to agree with you. Siguro, I'll parang bring up a different ad siguro. Kasi usapang marketing and then ads na to, no? And then I'd like to also hear from you guys, Maki, Lance, and then of course, Moy. I think ang sabi kasi ni Moy kanina, talking about timeliness, and then what is the now, ano yung kamalayan, ano yung nangyayari at the moment. Kaya siguro may ganong sensitivities or sensibilities yung mga tao, no? Remember that ad ng, magme-mention na naman ako ng brand. We're not sponsored anyway, sabi nga ni Maki eh. Bench, alam mo yung bench na, I mean, LGBT na to, no? Na queer representation na to. And then, umaakto-akto siyang lalaki, straight. And then, parang kasi daday niya, tatay niya, maton. And then, meron siyang, malaking katawan. Tapos, may gusto siyang perfume na binibili niya sa bench na pambabae. So, pag pumapasok siya sa school, nagpapabango siya kasi meron siyang crush na lalaki doon. Diba? And then doon siya nagladad-lad talaga as in super nagiging femme na talaga siya doon, diba? Na pag uwi niya sa bahay, nagka-cap siya and then kinakausap siya ng tatay na parang, uy, ako, may girlfriend ka na ba? So on and so forth. And then, like, it happened like a few times, and then pag uwi niya one time, hindi ko alam kung anong twist na doon, nakalimutan ko na, help me recall. Pag uwi niya, may nakalapag na perfume na yung favorite niya na pambabaeng pabango doon sa mesa niya. And then the dad was, may note lang yata yung dad niya. And then it meant acceptance. To me, we are part of the LGBT, no? Parang there was no sensitivity there. I was not offended. But I would read comments, I would hear people saying na parang, hindi ba offensive? Kasi daw, masyado daw overly represented daw. So again, I'd like to go back to what Moy said siguro. Siguro nagkakaroon na ng sensitivity sa mga tao these days because of the times, right? Mas woke na yung mga tao, 'di ba? Meron ng ganung kamalayan, 'di ba? And to me, sa akin wala, at least sa generation ko, parang nabuksan nga na open up yung discourse about that, 'di ba? So, yun, I have to agree with Moy on timeliness, no, kung ano nangyayari at the moment. Yes.
Very true. Case in point, when Paraki and Edgar did a concert, sort of like last year, maybe last quarter of last year, parang the first thing that they said to the audience was, pagpasensyahan niyo po, nung sinulat namin yung mga katang to, ganito po kami mag-isip, ganito kami magsalita. So, kung ma-offend kayo, pasensya na po. Because that's precisely true. I mean, the things that we said, the things that we talked about, I mean, even corporal punishment, for example, we experience it in our homes. But these days, corporal punishment is very much frowned upon, and it can even land you in jail. At least, I think, for the US, no? Pero, so yun nga, parang we have to take things into perspective. Now, I think people are more sensitive about things in the sense na parang they're more woke, and then they're more keen on details and representation and appropriate wording, labeling, and all of that. So that's why parang when they see something like this in an ad, then they, of course, point it out, right? So I guess it depends on the generation, it depends on the timing. For my part, I've already said it, parang it was fine by me in that sense. Yeah.
I would also like to weigh on this, no, as a person in the crossroads of generational change. Because I grew up, I was born in 1996. Okay. So I grew up in the early 2000s, no. Dun yung sabi nga ni Nico, dun nabuo at namulat yung kamalayan ko bilang, at least bilang bata, no. Bilang pundasyon ng kung sino ako ngayon, no. Having grown up in the early 2000s, no, it was in the car kasi it's a new century, it's a new millennium, diba? It's in the 2000s era. So a lot has changed comparing it from the 1990s, 80s, 70s, and in terms of in this context, in terms of advertisements or in terms of visual media na pinapakita natin na doon nagbabago yung sabi nga ni Moy kanina, doon nagbabago yung panahon, doon nagbabago yung kamalayan ng mga tao, doon nagbabago kung ano yung iniisip ng mga audience natin. So having born in the 1990s and lumaki in the early 2000s, nasanay ako sa slapstick comedy na ngayon nakikita natin as mali, or in some facets, some instances mali. Nasanay ako na pinapakita sa TV ang representasyon ng isang bakla ay effeminate. Nasanay ako na pag-usapan na kailangan maputi. Yung mga commercial na mga skincare natin na kailangan
Okay.
maputi. Nasanay ako sa ganun. And also, in this generation then in this time and age na I'm slowly starting dwelling into adulthood, no. So nag-shift yung generation, and nag-shift yung kamalayan ng mga tao. So having experienced these generational shifts, no, paradigm shifts na sinasabi ko kanina pa ulit-ulit sa group, no. Kasi if you look at it in the perspective of our own psychologies, our own psyches, no. Kasi I don't wanna buhat our bangko. Ang konyo, pero ayoko naman buhatin yung mabangko natin na we are educated. No, we are. Di ba? Paradigm shift. Yung konyo bigla. Pero ayun.
Yes. Stephen Covey.
Ayokong dalhin sa diskurso na mas marami tayong kaalaman kumpara sa ibang tao.
Right.
Pero,
Right.
kasi bilang tayong lima, nakikita na hindi ko na itasama pa yung mga ibang tao. Kasi ano tayo we're I don't want to say elite in terms of in terms of what we know in the world. Pero sa atin siguro kaya going back to RC Cola's advertisement, no, kaya hindi natin pinansin yung kulot na buhok, yung maitim na complexion is because I don't know if the right term is desensitized, pero hindi na natin nakikita ng problema yun. Hindi na natin nakikita na kailangan straight ang buhok. Hindi na natin nakikita na kailangan maputi. So, nung pinakita sa atin ng advertisement na may isang bata na ganun ang pagre-representa sa kanya ng in this case advertisement agency, at nung nanay na taliwas o hindi nagtutugma so kung anong itsura ng bata, para sa atin wala lang yon kasi namulat tayo sa panahon na madami ding broken families na which is okay, madaming single moms which is okay, na namulat tayo sa media na hindi lang sa Pilipinas kundi foreign media na yung kung saan talamak ang diskurso ng acceptance, talamak ang diskurso ng diversity and all these things na sineselebrate natin ngayon. Hindi natin nakikita na problema yun. Pero if we will look at it in the social psychology perspective, na coming from the context of what I studied in college, no, nakikita kasi natin na hindi tayo kaiba sa kung anong komunidad na kinabibilangan natin. No matter how we say na we are at this specific side of the fence, no, in terms of community, parehas tayo nung nasa kabilang side ng fence. Kasi first and foremost, we consume the same media, we consume the same products, we eat the same, we buy the same things in the grocery stores. No, we are consumers of the same advertisements we see online. In this day and age, where especially in 2020, that we are in a virtual world, no, hindi na filter ng mga social media platforms na pinupuntahan natin kung anong media yung nakikita ng kung sinong tao. Hindi na tinitignan na para to sa demographic na to. In case in point, kapag na lang sinet or like merong tweaks and settings ng outlet or ng media outlet na filter yon. Pero if you put it out there, generally, makikita siya ng general public na no matter how rich or not, or no matter if your skin is fair or not, you consume the same thing, especially now. So, yun yung magandang diskurso na pinakita ng RC Cola. Kasi nagbigay sila ng idea and some people were receptive of it, some people were repulsive of it. Pero doon nag-start yung discourse. So yun nga, again, makikita natin in the future kung paano mag-generate yung sales. Kasi first and foremost, ang advertisement, no matter how we pressure advertisements to be socially responsible, to be diverse and everything, it all boils down to sales, no? So yun nga, having the background of social science in college na ngayon working in a marketing field, no? So ang hirap kasi nakikita ko na paano ko ihihiwalay yung sarili kong edukasyon at pananaw sa kung anong mga nakikita ng market. Kasi sabi ko kanina, bad PR is still PR, no? Parang if this advertisement sparked red flags and blue flags, makikita natin sa next steps ng Giggle or ng RC Cola kung paano na i-address yung mga diskursong ito. kagaya ng platform natin ngayon, no? Whether ang ultimate goal nila is again to generate sales, or if tanggalin na natin yung sales perspective, na if the ultimate goal is to start a discourse, since they started the discourse, we are very much excited to see how they continue it and how they end it, if they will, no? So
Yeah.
what ang gusto ko lang sabihin is that um yung mga advertisements na nakikita natin problematic, no? Kasi if we will look at some advertisements in the past, like there's this advertisement na, if I think you're familiar with Old Spice, kung saan talamak yung macho na kailangan
Yes.
brusco, muscular, ang
Maton.
yung mga gumagamit, maton ang gumagamit, no? If we will look at it in the 1950s, in the 1960s, 70s, it is very much acceptable by the community, kasi again yung kamalayan nga ng mga manonood ng panahon na yon is hindi kaparehas ng nakikita natin ngayon, o kung anong meron tayo ngayon. If you will look at it now, yung mga advertisements in the past, in the same Old Spice advertisements na ginawa in the past, then we will have a different take on it. We will have a different discourse, and we will have a different conversation versus the ones that happened in before. Pero if you will look at it then, yung mga Old Spice advertisements na nilalabas nila ngayon, parang nandun pa rin yung maton, nandun pa rin yung mga malalaking bruskong lalaki na pinapakita ng advertisements nila. Pero nakikita mo na binibigyan na lang ng ibang kulay, na okay, malaki katawan niya, malaki yung muscles niya, pero funny siya. Parang dun nila leverage ngayon eh. Kasi again and again, times change, pero still you're holding the brand eh. Parang kung gaano mo mandalin yung brand na yon throughout these years, yung brand identity, kailangan mo siyang dalhin. So that is a challenge for ad agencies, kung paano hindi pala ako nag-work sa ad agency, sorry. Pero kung paano nila ginagawa para dalhin yung identity ng brand na yon through different types of diversities or different groups of people, no? So yun lang, yung I just want a way na kasi sabi ko kanina na initially hindi ko siya nakita problematic itong RC Cola ad. Tapos nakikita ko na parang watching it again and again, nakikita ko na meron mga points, yung mga ilang comments na may konting problema na pinapresent, yung kagaya yun nga, yung kulot at yung maitim na na discourse na representasyon, no? Pero for me personally, gaya na sabi ko kanina, hindi ko na siya napansin kasi again and again yung consciousness ko is hindi na dapat yun, parang hindi na siya dapat pinag-uusapan eh. Like kung maitim ako tapos maputi yung magulang ko, hindi na dapat siya pinag-uusapan eh. Pero the way that they did this advertisements is so critical on how it would generate sales ultimately, and how it would start and reignite the discourse, no? Kasi again and again, kahit 30, I don't know how long this advertisement is, no? Parang kahit 30 or 1 minute lang siya, it's a very short time para mag-present ng lots and hodgepodge of ideas. Pero meron, again, nandun din yung may dinadalas ng responsibility on how they will present to the public, kung anong klase ng content at kung anong klase ng consciousness yung i-reintroduce nila sa public. Right. Pero first and foremost, advertisements are what? What's the purpose of advertisements? Babalikan natin, the purpose of advertisements is to catch attention, para hindi mo siya daanan lang. Especially now na we're in a virtual world. If ang target market nga ng RC Cola is a demographic na hindi buo yung kanilang identity or brand consciousness, which is in Metro Manila, ang dami natin ginagawa sa Metro Manila eh. Lahat tayo tuliro sa kung anong uunahin natin. Lahat tayo tuliro sa kung anong uunahin natin i-consume na content. So, very effective yung ginawa ng Giggle in terms of captivating and capturing the Metro Manila audience, no? If yun yung target nila. Kasi sa dami ng ginagawa natin, nabigyan natin ng pansin yung 30 or 1 minute advertisement nila. Kasi hindi na, for me personally, nakikita ko na hindi nila kailangang i-establish or like ipalawakin ng husto yung consciousness ng brand nila sa mga probinsya. Kasi unang-una, doon nga sila nabibili sa halagang 20 pesos isang bote, tapos may deposit na 3 pesos o 5 pesos, di ba? Right. So, kasi sa tapat ng bahay namin kasi may tindang RC. So, yun.
Ay, totoo
So,
yan. Yung mga deposit tapos isasoli mo para makuha mo
oo,
yung
may
deposit.
deposit. No? So, para sa kanila, hindi nila nakikitang problema yung pinakitang konsepto ng RC na tinatakal natin ngayon like adoption or like as far-fetched as terrorism. Kasi hindi yun yung bagay na na kinokonsume nila everyday. Hindi yun yung bagay na pinag-uusapan nila on a daily or na normal basis kasi uunahin nila yung mga I don't know, like for example, kung ang demographics ng community is like may maraming farmers, syempre that uunahin nilang i-tend yung mga farm na tinetend nila. So, mas kagaya sa atin, since we are here na we have, parang everything is within easy reach, you know, like may mga malls, yun nga, may Grab and may Food Panda or whatnot, na kung gusto natin ng certain something, makukuha natin in a click. So, mas maraming tayong panahon to consume more content, which would eventually, like this one, open discourses, not only in our own minds, but also with other people or like-minded people. So, ang dami ko sinabi, so hindi pala ako yung guest.
Hindi, okay lang. Different perspective, but thank you. Sa akin naniniwala ko, learning is a two-way street. So, meron din ako natutunan sa'yo. Thank you. Diba?
If I may share.
Ang dami sinabi ni Mark. Pwede bang i-retweet ko na lang requote and lahat?
Sige, go.
Diba? Ang saya, may sari-sari store sa kanila.
Oh,
But if I may share,
it's like sa akin lang naman. Siguro, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Lance.
Yeah, it's like sa akin lang naman, out of what everyone said, I think the bottom line for me is if they know their culture, if they know the culture right now, especially with the woke kids or the woke Gen Zs, the ones that we're clamming for is usually for accountability culture. So they dropped a bomb. I'm waiting for the next tactics in social media and all that. How will they attack that bomb they dropped about adoption? Because every little right now with this culture, every little bit, every little flaw we point out. Because I think we knew that because we had a discussion on cancel culture. We're easily triggered to cancel someone, but we're also easily triggered to care for someone, to show concern that look, you might be hitting a certain aspect of society with your certain ad or with your certain portrayal of a person. So it could come from both sides. It could come from in terms of concern. It could come from really, I just want to cancel you. So I want to know. I'm really curious. How will they show account for what they did with this? If there would be another follow-up ad with Arsicola on for showing that they are accountable of that they are recognizing that they made something, they touched on a certain issue na we failed to see as a generation because we grew up with that kind of
Hindi ko naman
culture.
magkakaroon ng sequel
Yun lang.
yan. Kasi just like Jollibee,
Yeah.
di ba? Marami silang sunod-sunod. Oh, there you go.
Just like Lumen and her surf.
Simula, di ba? May kwento, tama. Tama. Siguro, ako na lang, siguro, parang last or statement ko na lang siguro. I think the fact that we're talking about this and then we're not really iffy about discussing issues, that's why we're called Bruhaha. But we're not here to bash the brand. We're not here to go against other brands or any other brands. We're here to tackle if these brands are really effective or the ads rather are effective. No? And we're talking about kamalayan, consciousness ng tao, the reactions of people. But you know what? I see something good in this because we're talking about this. Ibig sabihin, the fact kasi na pinag-uusapan natin yung mga issues na to, people are, kung ang usapan natin hindi na advertising, hindi na advertisement, ang usapan natin yung content na lang siguro. The fact that we are discussing it means to say that people are moving forward. Kasi kung hindi natin pinag-uusapan to, it's either andun na tayo sa far end ng pagiging progressive, that we're okay now, we're good, we accept our differences, or hindi tayo aware sa mga differences or mga issues na to. So for me, having this discourse and people bring up different issues is a good thing because we are moving forward. And I think that's the reason that these ad agencies are going for these issues and these kamalayan and consciousnesses because probably to them it's for sales, it's for revenue, for income, for sales generation. But looking at the bigger picture, I think it's more like creating the bridge brouhaha in the community eh, 'di ba? Parang we're creating discourse, we're making people think. I think sabi nga
Prof ni Moy dito kanina, what's her name? Si Miss Dolores Moy, na parang
Yes.
iniiwan na lang sa manonood yung content, no? And kayo na bahala mag-decide kung ampon ba siya or hindi. So I think ang intention kasi titignan din natin eh, more than just the impact whenever we look at the content. So ang impact for some people it's negative, others parang wala lang sa atin, no, sa mga ka-generation talaga, no. But siguro we have to look also into the intention of the ad agencies. Ano nga ba talaga ang goal and objective, and for us to be able to balance the discourse eh. So yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin.
Actually, yun lang. To add lang to what Nico said, actually yung reaction na wala lang or yung reaction na bahala na is actually a reaction in itself. Kasi baka nga may mga ads
Right.
na gusto nila, ganun yung maging maramdaman mo na, di ba yung may ganung emotion na, okay, whatever, sige. Moving on, parang may ganung feeling. Kasi nga parang, okay, sige. So baka nga, yun din, yun yung sinasabi kanina na, yung bahala na. So okay, bahala na. Baka nga it's what it's meant to happen talaga to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oy,
And
sabi nila
definitely there
meron.
will be a second ad.
Second
This
ad.
was mentioned already. So I don't know if that's going to be just two, but I'm thinking that there may be a series because number one, it's
Right.
Christmas time, and
Yeah.
number two, most likely they want to sustain the level of interest of individuals or people. Yeah, or most likely they want to do like a sort of teleserie, miniseries kind of thing.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe the origin story of the entire family will be told. Maybe they are from a different planet. We don't know.
Stand daw yung
Yeah.
tatay.
Tapos beer mug pala sa tatay, mga ganon. Yung isang anak naka-wine
Yeah.
glass.
Tapos malay natin, yung mga kaklase pala hindi glass. Maybe pichil, mga ganon. I don't know.
Oh my God, no fun.
Yung tatay yung petrol.
Can happen at this point.
True.
But for me, I'm just really looking forward to what else is going to come out because I think it's going to be just as interesting as this one.
Yep. Ay, ito may bigger question na lang ako to us five here and to those in the chat, no. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin dito RC Cola ad effect eh. Ano nga ba talaga tong RC Cola ad effect, and will we get another RC Cola ad effect in other brands and other ads in the future? Kasi ito, yung pinag-uusapan natin, this itself, the discourse that we're having is an RC Cola ad effect itself,
Yeah.
di ba? We're responding, we're reacting, we're in a discourse, we're thinking, right? So this is definitely a reaction, and it actually, sabi nga kanina doon sa Mentimeter, mind-boggling eh, di ba? Nagulumihanan tayo lahat sa ad na ito, no? So that itself is an RC Cola ad effect. Will we get this again in the future? Di ba? Makakuha pa kaya natin tong RC Cola ad effect na to?
Well, sa akin, I think yes. There will always be a possibility for brands to actually do something similar. It's a matter of are they willing to take that step?
Right.
Saka, parang kumbaga, nasa na ang brand sa sarili nilang storya. Diba? And, kasi nga, katulad nga ni RC, for a long time, nawala sila. And I guess they want to be back in the scene, and because they want to be back in the scene, they drop the bomb, and now we are actually, we're experiencing the ad effect that RC has done to us.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But my apprehension naman is parang since we already know what to expect, how will they be able to the first one? Because now we have this mindset of they're gonna give us, something weird and strange, etc. So when they do give us something, would we still be surprised by it, or would we just be like, okay, yun lang? Because now they've set the bar, and it's gonna be a challenge for them to be able to exceed that bar that they've already set. But I'm excited.
Or
yeah,
me too. Or they could go the hugot real now with that, kasi they established the weirdness. they could bank on the real hugot na. It's like, if I were RC Cola, I might use that with the family setting, saying na we can be from the same picture, but we're all the same family. Parang ganun. Or we can be in different shapes and sizes, but we're from the same family. One's like a wine glass, the other's a pitcher, the other's the bottle, the other's regular glasses. Parang ganun.
Beauty and the Beast.
Siguro,
Beauty and the Beast lang. Tapos yung nakakanta. Be our guest, be our guest.
Oh my God.
oh my God.
Lumiere.
Oh my
Christmas pa, di ba? So, saktong-sakto, Pasko. Be our guest.
Exactly.
True.
And I
Oh
think
my God.
parang they came in sort of like with that kind of mindset too, that Christmas, it's supposed to be a magical time. So anything is possible, anything can happen. So this kind of
yes.
story is what Christmas stories are kind of built on. Like the
Yeah.
wonder, the novelty of things. Parang the childlike surprises, So I don't know, parang I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Dati yung Santa Claus siya mag-wave ng wand. Bibidi-babidi ko.
Iba.
I don't know if it's really Santa there, but maybe a version of Santa who is gonna be like, I don't know, like a beer bong. I don't know, whatever.
The vending machine of RC.
Gusto ko yun.
Or those kilometric, what do you call that? Those huge iced tea dispensers that are really, really long.
Ano
What do you call them? I don't know, but,
Cylindrical
you know.
Ice
Keme.
tower, ice tea tower.
Yeah.
Mga ganon.
Yan.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So that's Santa, hello. So instead of, stout, he'll be like thin and long. And this princess, RC Cola. Ganun.
True.
Diba?
I'm starting to imagine all of what you're saying in my head.
But I think with what we've seen from Giggle before, like they've done ads which are really, really out of the box, which are really, really tongue in cheek, which are really, really smart. Actually, I think we can expect that the next one will just be as surprising. Yeah.
Malay natin, our ads will be similar to how our neighboring Asian countries will be. Like, diba, they compare this to how Japan is doing and Taiwan is doing, and diba, ganun yung mga ads sila ngayon. So I guess this will really pave way to ads to be more like that, to be more interesting. Yun nga, diba? Para yun nga, yung kultura ng basta. Basta, ganun siya eh. Diba? I think there was even an ad lately na naging viral din from another country na yung wafer, I think it was a wafer ad. Was it a wafer ad?
Or the cheese one with the bacon? Yun ba yun? Or...
Yung parang girl and boy.
It's from Thailand.
Thailand. Thailand.
Okay. Parang meron siyang mata sa likod. Mata pala yun or something. Mata yung girl anyway. So yeah. So I think yun nga. To answer the question of magkakaroon ba ng mas marami pang ads sa ito? Maybe if the direction that we're going to will be similar to how our neighboring countries will be.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
That's the challenge is how to make it more and more interesting. Or still interesting. Diba?
Yes. So I think we've pretty much discussed a lot about the ad, no? Baka nga maging trademark term na tong RC Cola ad effect sa marketing, Moy, no?
Yes.
Baka maturo mo na to sa class.
Baka naman ayan, nakikinig yung aking isa sa mga mentors ko, baka pag-gawa ako ng module, ma'am.
RC Cola ad effect.
RC Cola ad effect. Basta po, masagot ko sa inyo, basta rin. Basta. Okay.
Siguro for us to end on a lighter note, can you recall mga ads before that somehow had the same effect? Hindi naman kailangan the same effect, but kumbaga that actually caught your attention na hindi nyo na makalimutan hanggang ngayon. Meron ba kayong mga ads that really stood out for you like before?
I think one would be coming from one of the competitors then. Parang, kasi they created a game out of the ad.
Okay.
parang ikaw ang beat sabay-sabay, ito ang beat na, if gets mo na. So it I could remember those exact lines and songs. Kasi it became so interactive. Let's pass on from one kid to another. Parang, have you watched that? Let's play this game that this Coke commercial did. So parang ganun. Kaya it's stuck in my head for some reason.
Nico, ginawa natin high school yun.
Di ba? We all did it. We all did it.
Sa mga
Kaulado natin yun, Moy! Ano ba yan?
Ginawa natin yan.
True. Yes.
Ayan,
yes.
that's a nice one.
People are sharing in the chat their favorite commercials too.
Oo nga eh.
Oo nga eh.
Yung McDonald's bola. Yung si Karen at si Gino.
Si Ma'am York, Karen and Gina naman sa kanilang McDonald's.
Yan din yung
Talaga?
Ay, marami. There's a lot.
Ano yung caniston cream? I don't remember it. Ano yung caniston cream? Do you guys remember that?
Anti-fungal cream. I don't remember exactly.
Ito yung hold up to. Hubad. Yun ata yung...
Oo, yeah. Those famous lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Parang hindi na nag-play sa utak ko yun.
Okay, what else? So who's next? Who's willing to share?
How about you guys?
Siguro
What
ako.
else?
I'll share. Siguro, not really favorite kasi sa dami ko nang kino-consume din na media, but what I remember is from a competitor also. This was in the 90s. Ang tanda ko na pala. Okay, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, there were different singers in that video, in that ad, and they were singing "We Will Rock You."
Oh, I know that.
So,
I know that.
They were, isa-isa silang lumabas, and then they started
Ang galing nun.
lines from the song. So I think until now it's stuck in my head kasi parang 'di ba that was the era na yun nga parang people were relating to a lot of yung change of pop culture, and one of which was nga yung sumisikat yung mga yung mga singers na yon. So and I guess it stuck in my head na parang ang galing. For some reason yun nga it had that effect also on viewers such as myself na parang yun nga they really rocked the heads of people and the minds of people. Parang uy ang galing diba? Yun lang, we will rock.
The most recent earworm ngayon kasi a good friend of mine keeps on saying that famous line from a shampoo commercial, when you shine, you can do anything. So damn, it's stuck in my head. Rupa Meg. And Gretchen Barreto.
Yes, Gretchen Barreto.
Hi, Craig, if you're there.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Ayan, dami talagang may favorite sa Karen Lolo ad, no?
Yeah. Even Miss Dolores.
Yes.
Favorite.
Sabado
oh
night.
My God. Sabado nights. Sabado nights. Si what's her name? Techi Abayani. I think was the first one. Or was it Ina Raimundo as well? I know Ina Raimundo was also
Ina Raimundo, oh my gosh.
But I think Techi Abayani was the first one ever. If I remember correctly. Oh my God, I'm old. I don't remember all of them, all of the older ones, but I guess the ones that really stuck with me would be the really emotional ones. I mean, the first commercial that ever made me cry was a Jollibee Studios commercial. Like, what the hell, Jollibee? I mean, they basically just created like a mini movie and a mini series from their Valentine commercials. So those are the ones that I remember. Like Nico said earlier, the vow, crush.
Which one's your favorite?
All of those things.
Which one's your favorite Jollibee?
Which of the Jollibee commercials are your favorite?
Really good, but I think the one that hit me real hard was the vow. I was like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, same.
Pero, when it all came out, kasi they made it into a trend din, diba? Like, everyone was like, try not to cry challenge using all the Filipino ads with that.
Even if I've already seen it, when I watch it again, it
Iyak pa rin
still
ako.
makes me cry.
Grabe.
Yeah, like, seriously.
Ba't
Yeah.
ganun?
Yes, of course, eventually. But, like, oh my God, seriously? Come on.
There's also another ad dun eh. If you've seen the Vivo ad na ang title is Silent Christmas,
Aha.
it's
What's that?
it goes through a Christmas scene, a normal Christmas scene, single mother raising 4 kids, tapos biglang there's a group of carolers outside. Then they all come in to help her and celebrate Christmas kasi she was alone eh.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
that's
Then,
See, that's the thing, no? Parang
Tapos,
the season
may-
also has.
may twist pa yun. Suddenly, it falls into a quietude kasi syempre they were all rambling, they were all having a great party. Then suddenly, a man comes into the door. Then, it keeps quiet suddenly. Then, you could hear a thing dropped. Yun pala, yung, what they call this, the crotches na she's holding, fell to the floor. Kasi he saluted to the door.
Oh my
Kasi the one in front pala, kaya she's a single mother kasi the husband died in war.
Oh, shit!
Yung mga ganyan, no?
Yung mga ganyan, kwento, yung may revelation, yung may mga
Yeah.
biglang, banat na ganyan.
Grabe.
Kaya ang galing nila.
Yun yung kilabot factor. Parang kinikilabutan
Yes.
ka bigla.
True.
Oh, man.
There's this one ad from from an airline. I think it was Christmas time nung yung nag-expect siya sa airport ng nag-iintay siya ng tatay niya yan.
Oo.
Then
Oh.
nakita yung madaming bata nag-iintay, and then yung mga I don't know if it was OFWs
Iyak ako
ba,
doon.
sakay nung eroplano na alam natin to. Pero isa kayo yung mga
Yes.
tatay, tapos yung mga anak, tapos siya nawala na yung mga tao, tapos napansin na walang dumating sa kanya. Yung pala yung tatay niya is yung piloto na nagdala sa mga tatay ng iba, sa mga bata for so yun yung regalo.
Bigla.
Regalo. Sa regalo. Sa regalo.
And also, aside from these tearjerker ads, there's this one then. It's a semi tearjerker kasi hindi siya fully realized story like the ones we've mentioned recently. No? If you can recall the commercial of McDonald's Philippines, yung may kuya, entitled Kuya.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Ganda yun.
that
Parang
one.
isa yun sa mga tumatak din sa akin in terms of like the tearjerker side. Pero on the flip side naman, yung hindi mawala sa isip ng lahat ng tao for literally years, the commercial or the TV ad of I think it was Maggie or Nor, yung sinibawang gulay from the kids going bully. Oh my God, everybody was
Makulay ang buhay. Makulay ang buhay sa sinawang gulay.
It was every July Nutrition Month sa lahat ng elementary schools for literally years. Like even elementary ako, yun yung kanta. So, oh my God. High school na ako, college na ako, yun pa din yung kanta every July. So, parang, okay, I need a new material.
Well, speaking of flip side, do you guys remember those commercials from the cinemas? Yung Seiko wallet. Ang wallet. And also, Sozi dito lang.
Grabbing alcohol.
At saka,
Ang dami.
Sobrang classic yun.
the katol. Di ba?
Kag may
Parang-
kawag may lamok, may tape, parang ganun.
Yes!
Tapos meron pa, may kanta pang isa, yung DEAM means smile, smile kami pag-beam.
Oy, gawin natin challenge yun ngayon para masaya. Dapat daw
Yun yung
habang
challenge.
kinakanta yun, hindi tayo
Huwag ka
tumatawa.
mag-smile.
Smile.
Ang hirap.
A.M. Smile.
Kaya yan.
Smile kami
Kami pag-beam, beam.
Katawa na ako.
Nalo pag-beam.
Ang galing.
Si Mike, tapos niya.
Dragon katol! Yes, Ma'am Yao, you got it. Oh my God.
Pero grabe no, yung ads talaga ng Thai, I'm telling you, sa Thailand talaga, yung mga emotional na mahabang ads nila, yun talaga yung mga ano ko eh. I'm a sucker for those.
5-minute ads.
Oo.
And they have this
Grabe.
trademark weird ads. Like, parang meron isang scene na kumpol-kumpol yung mga tao. They're all clustered together, weathering the rain, the sand, the storm, the lightning. Tapos yun pala, it's a commercial of parang tiles. Yun doon na pinagdadaanan ng mga tiles mo sa roof. Yes. Basta marami silang weird ads.
So weird.
And parang, I think the trademark ads ng mga Thai talaga, you keep on guessing what's their commercial all about until you get to the end and they show the product. Kasi you don't
Correct.
know.
Just no relation whatsoever to what just happened.
Mhm.
Anong ad yun? Do you guys remember? There was an ad, I don't know if it was Thai, yung sa washing machine. And then it was
Okay.
viral because of, parang there was a girl and then washing machine, tapos meron siya nilagay na dark-skinned person sa washing machine. Tapos nilagyan niya ng powder, tapos lumabas maputi na.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
it became viral.
So,
It became viral
oh my
because
God.
parang they were called out because ang racist naman. I'm not
Yeah.
sure which Asian country that was, pero
Okay.
naging viral din siya na parang bakit naman ganyan. But it wasn't even a washing machine ad. It was like a t-shirt brand, I guess. I don't remember exactly. But,
Oh my God.
Parang
Okay.
sobrang random. But yun nga, it became viral because people were calling out that ad or whoever made it na parang ba't naman ganyan, ba't kailangan gumamit ng they were called out for the racist theme. Yun lang. So I think that's another effect of those weird, but as in wala talagang connection sa washing machine whatsoever. So biglang okay, gets. Yun.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Sabi Pinoy mentioned parang BLs in commercials. I remember one commercial by Smart, yung parang yung son, he was in a relationship with another guy, and then his dad sent him a friend request to Facebook, and he was very nervous about it. He didn't know whether to accept it or not because he was scared that his dad would find out and then he would be rejected or whatnot. But then he finally accepted his dad's friend request, and then there was a conversation at the table na parang he said to his dad, "Dad, I already accepted you," and then his dad said, "Well, so did I." Or something like that. And I was like,
Alam mo, actually, naiyak din ako doon ng slide.
diba?
Parang,
Super.
ako.
Wait, here's a comment from your prof Moy, si Miss Dolores Thailand. Sabi niya magandang pag-uusapan ng commercial sa discourse analysis and gender courses. Napakayaman ng mapag-uusapan gaya ngayong gabi. Kaya saya at makabuluhang makinig sa inyo. Maraming salamat po, Miss Dolores Thailand. Thank you po.
Salamat po. Gender course na po next term. Ay.
Ano bang sumali dyan? Ano bang sumali dyan?
Sali kami, Moy.
Masaya sumali dyan.
Sali kami dyan.
Opo, ayan.
Oo. Gawin nyo lang Soji course na to.
Parang alam, kinikinita kita ko na kung anong ma-assign sa akin nito Salamat, madam! Nako, ayan.
Basta Moy, kung kailan mo ng Soji backup, we're all here.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Ayan. Okay. Salamat. Ayan. Link to the commercial mo is talking. Sige, where can I send the link? So, si Ma'am Yao is asking for the link daw. To the gender, to the racist ad.
You can put it here.
I can put it there in the comments. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And you can put it in YouTube if you're there as well.
Very low tech. Okay, I will. Give me a few seconds.
Wait, but
aside from your favorites, do you have...
Go, Mark.
Sorry.
Go.
I just want to ask now. You don't no explanation aside from a favorite flip side. What is your least favorite TV ad, if there is any? Ako, for one, all the black and white, skin white commercials. Like, so unacceptable. Yun.
Very, very true.
Hala, ano
because
ba?
that's basically, I mean, I know that people want to get white, but it perpetuated the idea that if you're black, you're ugly, and if you're white, you're beautiful. So wrong.
Right.
Ano nga ba?
Ako siguro may mga ads. Ako I speak Cebuano. Right? Bisaya ako. May mga ads na perpetuate yung inday jokes. Yung mga tipong ati-ati, mga ganun, tapos tinitigasan yung dila. To me, that's really offensive. Kasi it's very unnecessary. Kasi parang hala, bakit mo gagawing katatawanan ng isang Bisaya? Di ba? Parang ganun. And if you talk to like Cebuanos, I'm just speaking for myself ha. But if you talk to among Cebuanos and then maririnig mo sa isang Tagalog na, uy, natawa ako dun sa isang ad, merong Inday character doon. We would be very offended. Really. Na parang, hala, bakit yung gagawing katatawanan yung nawala na yun eh. Parang di na tayo masyado nakakita ng mga Inday na mga characters in ads. Kasi nga, parang it's kind of offensive. Na parang bakit gagawin yung katatawanan even the accent, diba? Parang just nalilink pa siya to pag Cebuano, kasambahay, diba? So bakit may ganung stick, may ganung kamalayan, diba? Pero I haven't seen any ad na may ganung representation or
Stereotypes.
Yeah, stereotype. Yeah. Yun.
I don't know if I remember any commercial that I dislike. Maybe later. You guys.
Siguro dislike, not really dislike, but one ad that I talk, one example that I talk to with my kids talaga na, with my students is yung recent ad ng not really recent, but another what do you call this brand, the retail brand where they were talking about I think the model was yung kapatid ni what's that name? But anyway, the theme of the ad was you have to be proud of whatever race you come from. Parang 50% so like this, 50% like that, 70% like this, 30% like that. I think I'm not sure.
I think I know that. I know that ad.
Yeah, they had billboards, right? Tapos they had testimonial saying na they're like this and they're like that. Parang nagkaroon ng backlash saying na parang bakit kailangan maging mixed para maging maganda, or bakit kailangan maging mixed para maging gwapo.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I
know that ad.
I'm not really least, but I think diba? Naging parang it had a really bad backlash sa kanila. So yun, I think yun, I get it. It was kind of like they were trying to be really relevant, but it did not work.
Ayun, what's your mix?
What's your mix? Yeah, that one. What's your mix?
Yeah. Interesting.
So, I think that's one of the things that the ads that medyo parang How about you guys? Friends, meron ba nag-comment? What's your mix? Oh, there, that one. Yes. That one. Kayo ba?
Kasi kung Philippine setting, wala masyado. Pero if you go abroad, madami. And there's it's maybe you can't relate to the humor, to the culture, pero if you bring it to the Philippine setting, it would sound bad. So, may mga ganong ads siguro. Pero, yun nga, same with Moy, na anything that has to do with, you have to embrace the whiter skin, you have to delineate na, wherein they're feeding the information na you have to be mixed, you have to have a certain complexion, color, height, yung mga ganun. I hated those ads. And you have to take their supplement, their drink, their thing or gamot in order to achieve that. Parang no.
Kasi it might yes, we are aware now, pero parang for tama nga yung sabi nyo kanina, for those who do not really talk about this and just consume without processing, tama ba tong ganitong idea in their heads? And kaya yun nga, the effect of brainwashing. So ayun. Ano nga yung washing brand? So, natawa ko dun sa comment.
Ang tibay raw
Ang
kasi.
tibay daw ng washing. Oo nga. 'Di ba? Daig pa ang mga
Mm.
tibay naman ng washing machine. Oo nga. Ano kaya, daig pa yung mga laundry shops, no? Ang tibay talaga. Ayun.
Long lasting.
Anyway, long. Lifetime warranty siguro yung washing machine na yan. No? Diba?
Wala talaga akong malalo, guys. Sorry, pasensya.
So,
Ayun
okay.
na.
Okay.
Sherifer daw, sabi ng isa. Ayan.
Sabi ni Ma'am Yao.
Preferred
Yeah,
color.
paano kami?
Oo nga, paano na? Alam mo, I drank Sherifer, hindi naman ako tumangkad. Naging malusog lang. Grabe.
Diba? Ako din. Wala naman nangyari sa akin. Ganun pa.
Parang kung ano yung height ko nung high school, Nico, yun pa rin yung height ko hanggang ngayon.
Talaga?
Wala. Alam ko noon, ng Cherryfer, wala talaga. I'm sorry. Shout out sa Cherryfer, kasi ayos po ang brand message ko po. Hindi po siya effective sa akin.
Parang ano niya, temporaryo. Yung si Richie Rivero, ano ba yun?
Yung gatas ba yun? Yung gatas
din eh.
Diba? Oo, gatas yata yun.
Pampatangkad rin daw eh.
Oo. Eh kasi
Well,
naman siya,
meron
matangkad
siya.
naman yung magulang niya. Parang, hindi naman niya.
Nasa jeans na yata yan.
Sa branding message talaga, I think that's another topic din na pwede natin natin talaga, nag-self-invite, na pwede natin pag-usapan.
Yes. Yung mga ano kasi, di ba, parang ano rin siya eh, parang type of media talaga siya eh. And it's prevalent. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's consumed by a lot of people as well. So parang, yeah, definitely there. Sabi nga rin ni Ms. Dolores, di ba, parang maganda rin talagang pag-usapan. Kasi there's a lot of things, I mean, discourse analysis, gender analysis, mga ganun bagay. So definitely a lot of topics can be discussed.
Yes.
Naalala ko tuloy, yung
go,
isang
Lance.
ad din na, kasi right we have What's Your Mix nung isang fashion outfit. There was also something done by a soap brand too with a similar feel with complexion, race, and color. They had backlash 2 years ago.
Ito ba yung may billboard din sa Long EDSA? Tapos they had to take it down after 1 week?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That one.
That one. Na nakipag-away pa, and they had a PR, like a press release saying na meron naman daw silang, it was approved by the ad board, so and so. Oh, that one, yeah.
And it was a global backlash then. It was just not in the Philippines, but also around the world.
Oh my God, they released the same thing abroad?
Yeah, they did it across all countries. It had backlash then. Lalo sa Amerika. Lalo doon. They were heated up doon.
Maybe that's why they had to do that press release, kasi grabe, as in sabi nila hindi naman nila kasalanan kasi na-approve naman daw ng ad board, etc. Like, so bakit ewan? Wow. Yeah,
pero siguro parang I don't know, to sort of like think about the future for advertising and marketing in the Philippines, no? And I don't know if you're gonna agree with me. May mga times ako na nasa Grab ako kunwari, and then I would pass by Shaw, and then makakita ko ng parang malaking billboard, and then may representation ng LGBT couple. For example, I would still be surprised, really, but I would also be relieved at the same time na parang, oh, okay, we're going there. I mean, diba, parang hindi na siguro takot yung mga ads ng Pilipinas, I guess. And I'm looking for something, kaya tinanong ko kanina, can we expect more RC Cola ad effects in the future? Kasi I think we are getting there, the fact that we're discussing this. And there's a brighter future for Filipino ads, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's already a shift that's happening. One shift or one example that I've seen is because of the popularity or awareness of BLs. There is an ad by Bench wherein they featured a BL couple on screen, right? Sina Gab at saka sina Cairo. So they were able to do that. And I think Bench has, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Bench has featured
Yeah, before.
same-sex couples before.
Yeah, we
So
had Marco Gumabo also with in sa perfume
maybe it
bottle.
was
And
maybe it was not as common, but I think with what we are seeing now, it may become more accepted. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with all of you, lalo na dun sa sinabi nyo kanina about the culture of the younger generations, like us, younger generations. Na yun,
yes,
yes, I still would like to consider us as young part of the younger generation. Ayun. Na yun niya, yung pa-woke culture talaga na we're more aware, we're more open to things, and I guess the thematics of what the uh, media that we consume every day will be more open to these things also, diba? Things that that were not talked about before, diba? Which will lead to places and to things like this na talagang pag-uusapan pa rin talaga.
Yep.
And yun, nakakatuwa that we have like platforms like these to talk about what they want us to talk about, right?
Yep.
It's very nice.
Wait, Moy,
pero may question si Sapi doon.
Which one?
Parang,
Ano yan?
because you've only seen them online, but have they transitioned in the TV media as well? If you noticed?
Ooh.
I think medyo I try to watch local shows again as much as possible. Hindi pa rin masyadong nagbe-break dun sa stereotypes. But I think the shows, what's that movie? The production house, Black Sheep, the one that I think that they're trying to break the stereotypes in movies now and the storylines. So talagang if you notice the movies that they make now are more relatable. Okay, so I think it's there. It's slowly we're slowly getting there. Pero hindi pa ganun ka bilis tulad ng ads, but there's hope. There's hope to the other mediums and the other forms. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Meron nga daw, ayun si Lian, sabi niya. Napoleon Brandy.
Yung sa Islam
That's
hero.
That's different.
Grabe
very
to,
classic
no?
example yan.
Yan.
Kaya nakatikim ka na. Actually, yung billboard nandun pa. I can still see it online. The billboard of that one. Yung nakatikim ka na pala.
Gosh.
It's still there.
Grabe.
My goodness.
And it's still being referred to, I mean, even the students, the one that we teach now, they know of that ad. And I'm like, why? How do you know that? Wala daw, napapag-usapan daw sa bahay.
Oh.
Pwede mo na silang kasuhan yan eh.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Okay. Oh, well. Anyway, ako yung kinilabot. When I was a kid, I didn't like toothpaste. Okay, showing an American family using toothpaste, kaya kailangan foreigner ang family. I think colonial mentality. What do you think? Colonial mentality, kailangan foreigner ang family? What do you think?
Yeah.
Colonial
I
mentality.
think kasi, especially for this, no, yung toothpaste, kasi very, kahit pag nakakakita tayo ngayon ng mga toothpaste commercials, kasi laging foreigner, even in dentist. Kasi I don't know, I'm not from the advertising, pero I think it's a template na nilalapatan lang nila ng iba't ibang dubbing. Depende sa language nung papakitaan nila.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
it's a foreign material na dubbed in Tagalog if it's shown here in the Philippines. So, yun. I think that
Baka
answers.
standard,
Pero ano lang,
standard na siya.
yeah.
Yeah. In any
So,
country.
kanina, we're talking about advertisements that are becoming more and more exclusive. In one facet, gender, and then not being racist, ganyan. No? Pero hopefully, nagre-reflect sa mga advertisement na to yung mismong polisiya ng mga brands. Kasi kahit sa natin tignan, may mga nagtatrabaho dun eh. So kapag halimbawa, we are looking at a specific fast fashion na very inclusive in terms of gender, yung mga advertisement na pinapakita nila. May mga billboard pa along Pasig River sa may Bonnie. Yan, nakikita natin doon. Hopefully, nagre-reflect sa marketing, sa external marketing nila, yung ganun ding pagtanggap sa mga empleyado nila, no, na hindi nila pinipilit magdamit panlalaki ang mga hindi komportable magsuot ng panlalaking uniforme, no, o pambabae in a different context, no. Sana mas open yung mga brands, hindi lang panglabas na anyo sa mga taong nakakakita, pero more importantly sa mga empleyado nila, kasi yun yung magda-drive ng sales. If they want sales, yung empleyado yung like physically do the work for them. So sana mas in terms of parang inclusive ka sa labas, but also let's not forget yung employees natin sa loob.
Yep.
And yeah, I'd like to really highlight lang yung sinabi rin kanina, yung about yung sa branding. I just remembered when I was still teaching marketing per se. We were talking about what posters that the students will propose both online and offline. And they wanted to really propose a lot of ideas for strategies, and apparently it was disapproved by their immediate superior, because even though it was nice, sabi nila, kasi they have brand books to follow, and with that specific brand, they said na even if they approve it locally, they still have to submit it to, I think, their Singapore regional office. And Singapore regional office might not like it. So even if the local, even if the local office likes it, but the Singapore regional office doesn't like it, they will not push through with it. So baka nga, it might not go for all brands, but baka when it comes to the toothpaste question, since it's an international brand, it might be the same case na they have a regional office that approves of all ads in that region. Yun lang. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
A lot of considerations there.
Didn't like the family. Yan lang. Tagline, whether on billboard, tarpaulin can really be. Tagline. Sorry, anong tagline? The one kanina about Apple.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think it's similar to the effect of the bench billboards. I don't know if you guys, if everyone remembers it. Yung bench underwear. Tapos they had the tie-up with the rugby team.
Yeah.
And then everyone,
Yes.
the MMDA even stepped in and they said, please take down your billboard because it's causing traffic.
Costing.
Yun daw yung cause ng traffic, yung billboard daw. Kasi distracting daw. And
So distracting naman sila.
sa akin, regardless if merong ganong billboard or wala, traffic pa rin sa EDSA talaga. So might as well, diba? Put those billboards. But again, I'm not MMDA. I'm not bench too, but like I appreciate. Sorry, personal preference. I appreciate it. Siguro ako yung target market, so I guess.
Yeah. Same.
Same.
Nag-enjoy ako regardless.
Yes.
So I think it's the same thing with what Lian said. Okay. I guess traffic is traffic, diba? Yun nga yung purpose ng billboards, diba? To entertain you while you're stuck in traffic. So, I guess it serves its purpose. Yun lang. Tuloy ako. Okay.
Wait, guys, siguro Moy, on behalf of the group PBS, it's already running like 2 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yes. Pero Moy, super thank you for being here. Alam namin sobrang busy ka na with online classes. You're still teaching. You have another term next term. Thank you for making time. Biyernes na Biyernes. Imbes na magpahinga ka, nandito ka sa amin. Thank you so much.
Okay lang. Nag-enjoy ako. Nag-self-invite na ako for your next one. Mag-selfie.
Yes! Oy, pero Moy, siguro since we are planning to venture into ad reviews, kasi diba nakita mo naman dun sa channel namin, we do series reviews for Boys Love series, we do film reviews also, ganyan. Since mag-ad reviews na kami, eventually, no, baka we can invite you, kung free ka man, we can invite you to like weigh in with us and talk about the ad para meron kaming perspective from you, no, marketing, definitely.
Oo naman. And I'm also
Yeah.
learning from all of you. So, yes, of course, just let me
Yes.
know.
Yes, yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Oh,
And then,
siguro parang last statements na lang siguro before we end our session from everybody before we close it off tonight. Anybody can start.
sige, kayo
Sorry,
muna.
say again.
Go, Maki.
Sa dami ko sinabi kanina. Ano lang, siguro, this is just to, not really pressure, kasi ano ba naman yung bosses ko at influence ko, no? Pero from one consumer to a brand out there, to all brands out there, more than the sales, I hope we all appreciate the great or the immense effect of advertisements in delivering messages. So hopefully we choose our messages and we make these messages clear cut so that the audience will understand the brand better. Because if
Okay.
if brands put out messaging that are responsible, that are responsible more than generating sales, your sales will follow. I mean, a lot of people right now are leaning towards being in a responsible and inclusive society. So hopefully, if there are other like future collaborations between ad agencies and brands, no, hopefully let's not dwell on the taboo, like the 1990s, 80s, 60s,
Yes.
70s discourses, no. Because if
Mhm.
you're afraid of like going out of the box, just be like RC, no? That they weren't afraid to
Yes.
go out of the
Yeah.
box. And
Mhm.
surely, although we don't have the numbers yet, surely if your focus is really revenue, then it will follow. Because
Mhm.
yun nga, kagaya ano, si Moy tsaka si Nico bumili pa ng RC. So it will surely follow.
Ano
Mga
na,
lahat.
branding na naman tayo, Moy. Oh,
Ako
baka
naman.
naman RC, no?
Naman,
Baka
diba?
naman.
Ayan. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
How about you guys? Mikey and Lance. Si Moy na ang pang-last natin.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Last words.
Any last words siguro?
Last words. Okay. Well, I guess that I guess I already said everything that I wanted to say. So what I'm gonna say now would be to the Giggle crew. Giggle crew, nakakagigil kayo. Char. Hopefully, well, a couple of things. Number one, I would commend you on thinking out of the box. That's one. Secondly, hopefully you'll join us next time so we can talk about it for real, for real. That's it.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
That'd be fun. Having like a good group with Moy. That'd be great.
Oh, yes.
Yay. Yay, no? Yay. Ayan.
Go, Lance.
Lance.
Yeah. Siguro last words then would be, I hope, kasi I think what your dear professor said, na maraming ads pa rin, nagkakahon pa rin sa babae, macho, lalaki, and all those other stereotypes. So I'm hoping soon those stereotypes become blurred. And I'm hoping soon those will be broken. I'm hoping soon that those ads who used to do that will be held accountable for all what they've done and reshape the future of ads. Sana. Because I hope they
Yes.
cope up with the world that is changing right now. Because we're even in gender identity, expression, sexual orientation, it's becoming blurred. Even in the way of life that we have, even in our virtual landscape, everything is being blurred right now. So I hope they keep up and reflect
Okay.
what society is.
Yep. I agree. Siguro ako before I turn you over to Moy, pang last words na talaga natin si Moy bilang guest natin.
Wow.
I think nasabi na rin ni Maki about being innovative and not being scared of trying things out. Okay na yun. Sa akin siguro parang don't be scared sa mga ad agencies. Don't be scared of challenging the status quo and the current consciousness of people. Kasi I think doon nagsisimula eh. Doon mo na-stir yung usapan and conversation. Of course, but you have to set a balance kung masyado bang morally compromising or masyado bang compromising sa kamalayan ng tao. But again, don't be scared to poke a little, no? Wag tayong ma-confine dun sa kumbaga na nakasanayan na. Kasi that's how we actually, make people think, and that's how you can actually sustain your brand, and that's how you get the attention of people, di ba? Parang ano siya, hitting two birds with one stone. Ano tawag dito, hindi mo lang actually sineset yung brand mo in the market, you're actually moving people somewhere. So yun lang. Oh, Moy, go.
Ako, actually, nasabi niyo na yung mga important stuff na gusto ko rin sabihin. But again, thank you sa inyo for letting me. This is my first ever sa inyong lahat. This is the first ever invite that I got to speak outside of the classroom. So, thank you so
Talaga?
much.
Parang
Yes.
hindi
Thanks
naman.
for accepting.
Kayo,
Parang sanay
so,
ka na.
kayo yung unang
Thank you.
talk outside of the classroom.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you. And yeah, so thank you. This is really naiiyak. This is really a milestone for me. So, and plus the fact that this is a topic that I've always been really wanting to talk about, even outside in and outside of the classroom. So thank you.
Perfect,
And
perfect.
yun, I think last words, I'd like to bank on yun nga. I have students who are listening now, and sila yung magiging well, I have some who are like what I told Nico when he invited me. I have some who already working both from the client side and in the advertising agency side. And I guess yun nga, we have already Gen Z's working in that field already. And I guess may pag-asa. Totoo, ako naniniwala talaga ako. Siguro lumalabas yung pagka-teacher ko. May pag-asa talaga. Ang pag-asa natin yun nga yung sumusunod sa atin. And sana they push the boundaries talaga, and yun, hopefully sooner than later mangyayari rin yan.
Yes.
Ayan.
Right. And if you want to follow Moy, she has her socials below. You can follow her Instagram and Twitter. It's three-wheeled star. Ayan. So if you want to engage in a conversation with her, meron pang pa-tweet yan si Moy before. Nalala ko yun, Moy. Nagpa-post ka dati na parang what would be like a good Twitter account name or username rather. Nalala ko nag-weigh in ako na parang basta related to pagiging teacher or pagiging prof mo before.
Dati it was Prof Espinosa, as in KNOWS.
Witty.
Prof Espinosa. Wala, parang masyadong mahaba. So, yun na lang. Ginaya ko na lang yung sa Instagram ko. So, it was Prof Espinosa. Ayun. So,
My request ko si Liam. I think Liam wants to see you more. Hopefully, you become a regular cast member now.
Regular cast na ng Bruha mo.
Nako. Sana din.
You're gonna
Waiting
react to
here daw,
BLs na
sabi
rin.
niya. Ayan, may pa-request na.
Pero Moy, parang hindi mo first
you.
time. Kasi parang I think you've been doing online classes na rin. So this is something like familiar to you, di ba?
Yes. Pero parang yun nga, mas sanay kasi ako ng yung may structure, and this is mas less structure than online classes.
Yeah.
And mas engaging kasi lahat tayo dumadaldal. Pag online classes kasi hindi masyadong madaldal. Ako lang.
Tahimik lang sila.
Ako lang.
Natutulog, gano'n.
Ayan. Tinulugan na ako ng iba kong estudyante. Wala, hindi na sila nagko-comment.
11:30 na. Malapit na magkalat hours.
Oo.
Oo nga, 11:30 na, my gosh.
Wait, pero Moy, thank you so much for
Yes,
being
thank you so much.
game and chill. I hope nag-enjoy ka. Ayun, so
Yeah.
mag-outro na tayo, no?
Yes.
Oo naman. So may little ad lang naman kami. So don't forget to follow and subscribe on our social media accounts. It's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Yeah, and so it's Brew Hobby Squad at Brew Hobby Squad. Don't forget to follow Moy. Down there is the 3-wheeled star. So she's our beloved guest. Hope to see you soon again. And above me is Mike, Mark, Nico, and I'm Lance. As the influencers would say, we're out and proud.
Yay! Happy
Thank you to our
Friday!
Bye, guys.
Friday.
Stay safe.
Happy Friday.